Right. Good evening again, everyone. Unfortunately, Gary did decide to end the stream. I think that he did decide that tonight was too painful for it. So I do apologise for the 200 people who were watching us live already for that. We will try to get back into it. Gary is driving home now, so he will not be joining because it is thick fog out there at the moment. But before everything else and we get into the game, I'd like to introduce my wonderful panel, as always. All good friends of the channel and good personal friends of mine as well. All regulars on here with me to try and get us through another hour, most likely, of pain. But without further ado, Travis, good to have you on here again, mate. Thanks for joining us. How you been?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yeah, thank you for having me on, Callum. Love being part of these pods as always. Obviously, a lot better when we've got something positive to talk about with Spurs. But at the moment, I've just stuck to even think about how many positive things I can even mention about Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. But yeah, other than that, yeah, all good. Just demoralised with my football club at the moment, like most us Tottenham fans are, and probably the people watching as well. But yeah, good to be on, and yeah, looking forward to the show, and good to see Si and Phil as well.
No, I appreciate that, mate. I appreciate that. So let's go to a painful part of the country at the moment. We're going to go to Si in Birmingham, where he is not going to be living it down anytime soon from all the Brummy fans. So, Si, you are looking older. We do know you are only 25, but you are looking nearly 55 at the moment, mate. So, how you been, man?
Yeah, mate. I'm all right. What can I say? I'm ready for all the nonsense I'm going to get from the Villa fans living in the Midlands, I guess. But I'm just dejected. You know, I think we're all going to try and put a slightly positive spin if we can on what we've seen today. But it's going to be difficult, isn't it, guys? Let's be honest. But yeah, always a pleasure to be on here with you guys. Always a pleasure. I love Prjctspurs, and yeah, let's just hopefully we can pull a rabbit out of the hat to make this a better podcast than it could be with what's going on at the moment.
No, I appreciate that, mate. And obviously, you are in a part of the country where you are likely to get a lot more pain than at least some of us down here. But we are going to go to the continent, and it is one of mine and Gary's good and personal friends, Phil from Frankfurt. How you doing, mate?
Evening, Cal. Evening, gents on here. Evening, everyone watching. Yeah, I'm okay, I guess. Nothing more, nothing less. It's always a bit of a challenge watching Spurs at the moment, isn't it? And it seems that when we do these pods recently, it's more of a kind of a therapy session, right? Really, it'd be nice to actually do some pods when we're kind of looking forward, with optimism properly, into the future after loads of wins of, unbeaten. But I guess that will come again at some point, as it always does in our roller coaster lives as Spurs fans. It's a pleasure to be on as always, and I love supporting Prjctspurs and getting us out there as well. So yeah, looking forward to some good chat tonight and dissecting that game and probably also the future where we kind of where we go from here, if anyone knows.
Well, that's the million-dollar questions that we'll be covering tonight, because as always, we will try to be level-headed. We will try to be fair and reasonable, but we do have to talk about a painful time. So obviously it was a 2-1 loss at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We realistically know that we are in a painful time. We are getting there, but in the build up to the game, let's go with team sheet first. From what everyone saw, were people happy with from the start of? Well, realistically, we played our strongest 11, didn't we, Trav?
I'd say so at the moment with the injuries and stuff we've got out at the moment. It was good to see Archie Gray starting again. I thought he's had a couple of really, really good games, really mature 18-year-olds who's kind of been thrown in the deep end a little bit. So it's good to see him playing again. Obviously good to see Solanke back as well. But Frank can only play with what he's got. There's no real, inspiration or any sort of positive look towards the January transfer window at the moment. I know we've just signed that Souza for 23 million, I think it was at the end, but it's another player that no one's heard of before, and I'm sure we'll get on to transfers a bit later. But Frank can only go with what he's got, but with the way he's managing the team, I mean, he's kicked off twice now. It kicked off tonight, and it kicked off in the last game as well. And Romero's got another lengthy suspension because of his attitude and his lack of how he conducts himself as a team captain. I think he's just way off the mark with everything in that sense. I mean, he did say on Sky Sports that he will keep his captaincy bands. I don't think that's the right option, really. I think he should be stripped of it and given to somebody else who is able of conducting themselves. But just, yeah, I didn't see anything bad with the starting 11 tonight. But if we had started the way we finished the game in the last, 20, 30 minutes, then I think it could have been a completely different game. But yeah, we were just way off the mark from the very start tonight. I don't know what happened in that last 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know what got said. I don't know what Frank said. But where was that Tottenham for the rest of the 60 minutes? Just way off the mark, and we are in. We say it all the time, but we are in trouble as a club. If we don't go and get some serious players, we are going to be banging trouble. And I'd hate to think where we're going to finish, but yeah, you can only put out what you've got. It was the same with Ange, and it was the same with the other managers as well, with the lack of backing from Levy when he was at the club, and now Vinay. It's just nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there, and I'm tired of it. I feel like a broken record. I'm just absolutely fed up with it to the max.
We will get into that as we go along. I would like to just welcome our final guest, another friend of the show, Joseph. Thanks for coming on last minute, mate. Always a pleasure. How you doing?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm okay. Difficult. I mean, it's been a difficult time for all of us, isn't it? Watching Tottenham for the last couple of months, but excited to get into it. Excited to hear what everyone's thinking, everyone's feeling. But yeah, I really hope something will change soon because it's dire right now.
No, I appreciate that, mate. So obviously, thank you for the 200 people who are watching us live at the moment. We've got lots on Gary and Prjctspurs' channel. We've got a few people on YouTube as well. Phil seems to be running the numbers at the moment. Phil has got over 107 people watching. I didn't even know Phil was that popular, to be honest. So thank you very much for everyone. If you do want to check anything out, go and follow everyone on here, and obviously the guys do stream to their own channels as well. Apart from me, I'm the sad person who just piggybacks off of Gary. But let's go to Sai. Obviously we've got Trav's faults on the team sheet, mate. Did you sort of feel happy with the team sheet that was available to us?
Yeah, to be fair, Carl, like Travis said, he didn't have much to select, really, did he, with suspensions, injury. Danso coming in for Romero for that extra suspension for not getting off the pitch. I expected that. Porro, I think he just constantly gets played, never gets rested, that guy. He's like a machine. Nice to see Ben Davies back on the left as well. Because he had a good game against Sunderland. I don't think there's any surprises there whatsoever because of the lack of options he's got. Cal, it's just down to the bare bones, I think, really. Although I thought maybe, Vicario may have been rested in the FA Cup game, but yeah, no other issues. It's all he had to pick, really. To be fair, mate.
No, exactly. And Phil, do you echo sort of what Trav and Saib said, that he was using the bare bones of what he's got, but there could have potentially been maybe a change of, say, Spence coming in at right back, maybe Kinski coming in goal, because we all know Porro is run ragged. This could have been a time to give Spence a go in his natural position, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, generally speaking, I agree with both guys in terms of, Frank is kind of using what he's got. Really, there's not a million options, but I was very happy that Davies started. To give us that balance on the left. For me, that's just still one of our biggest problems and challenges, is having that left footer out there, and he deserved it after his game last week. I did think that Spence might start instead of Porro. I mean, Porro, in my opinion, has been quite poor recently. He looks knackered as well, to be fair. Like, he's played pretty much every game for about 18 months, really. I can't remember him having a proper rest. So I thought that Spence might start the game with Porro on the bench. But apart from that, I mean, I was really happy with the team sheet, to be honest. I mean, in midfield, there's not many options, is there? Palina and Gray, that was always going to be the starting, centre midfielders. And, Taylor and Odebert in some shape or form were going to probably start. But still, you never know. I was happy to see him there, and maybe, not that Frank had gone back to playing Richie on the left or Moani on the left and then, Richie up front, like both of them. I think that would have been a mistake. So in terms of the setup with Richie starting as well, fitness-wise, okay. Yeah, I was happy. But the thing that made me happy was Davies, really. I mean, I think it's so important for us. The one thing is Kinski.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, I've been calling for Vicario to get a little spell on the bench. A polite way of saying, he's dropped. But I think Kinski's got to get a chance at some point. And, probably there'll be people saying, well, you wouldn't give him that chance in the FA Cup at home in such an important game. But Kinski did make his debut against Liverpool, didn't he, at Anfield last season? He's got to play at some point. So, again, personally, I might have actually played Kinski tonight. And to be honest with you, Vicario, again, his distribution was awful tonight. Like when it mattered, there was a few wayward passes, I remember, particularly one awful one, and he was quite lucky, I think, where the Villa player, might have been Buendia, tried to lob him or chip him. But look, I mean, yeah, it is how it is. I thought it was a pretty good team sheet, to be honest, overall.
Phil,
Mm-hmm.
I can't see Kinski getting a look in now. Now we're at the FA Cup, then got the Premier League and the Champions League. I think he'll keep Vicario in as long as he's still in the job, to be honest.
He doesn't seem keen to swap him out, to be fair, That's the thing. Yeah, he doesn't seem up for it. I don't know if he's worried about the dynamics of the team, by dropping him. He's part of the senior leadership team. Vicario is quite emotional, isn't he, as a character? He wants to play in the World Cup this summer. I don't know if he's worried about that, maybe causing more issues. But at the end of the day, as the manager, you've got to kind of change your personnel based on performances. But he seems to think that Vicario is doing well. That's the thing, right? I honestly think that Frank is happy with what Vicario is doing there. That's the issue for me, I think.
And that's one of the main issues which we will discuss in a little bit. Joseph, if I could just get your thoughts on the team sheet before we do go into the game itself. Realistically, do you echo what the other guys are saying, that he went with the best options available today? With maybe one or two.
To be honest, I mean, to be honest, I do echo what everyone else is saying. I mean, I would have liked to see Kinski start. I think it's a shame we haven't seen him play, because he's kind of come in. It wasn't, really cheap, was it? I think it was around 15 to 20 million, wasn't it? 20 million euros from, was it Sparta Praha? And from the little we've seen of him, he's looked okay. Obviously not terrific, but he's looked okay. And like what Philip's saying, Vicario, he's a good shot stopper, but I mean, other than that, his distribution is awful, absolutely woeful. And the amount of times that the defenders have to play it back to him, and then he either boots it out of play, goes straight to the opposition, is really poor. And we can see obviously where football's developed, and goalkeepers have to be footballers now. They have to be able to play with the ball at their feet as well as almost outfield players, and that's what the top goalkeepers can do. And Vicario really can't do that, and I think Kinski is a lot better with his feet. So I would have liked to see Kinski start. I don't know, maybe if it was the pressure of the occasion for Frank, obviously it's kind of all building up onto him now with the results that we've had. Maybe I need to just go with Vicario. I can't make a big change like that in case things go wrong. So I wasn't too unhappy with the personnel outside of the goalkeeper situation. I kind of understood Danzo starting ahead of Romero after everything that's happened, and other than that, it kind of is what I expected. So, but it's not even about the personnel in this moment. It's about the actual way that we play football and the tactics. That first half was dreadful, and I don't think it matters who you have on the pitch. If you set up like that, we're going to be 2-0 down at half time. You could have Maddison back, you could have Kulusevski, you could have Solanke from the start. If you're going to be setting up like that, so negative, it's never going to go well. I can't blame personnel really on any of it.
No, I appreciate that, mate. Right, let's get into some match events. So obviously, a slow start, and then Villa were enforced into a change with Yuri Tillemans coming on to replace Boubacar Kamara through injury. Pretty level, I would say, up until that point. Villa were probably the best team, and then right. Who looks like they've got the most painful face on the stream right now, just to make it a little bit more painful. Trav, you look like you're sucking a lemon, mate. So 22 minutes. Emi Buendia steps up and gets his goal. Talk me through this one, Trav, please, mate.
I'm doing more than chewing a lemon, mate. I'm chewing my thoughts at the moment because I've got to be really diplomatic how I talk tonight. Yeah, I just don't know what to say, Cal. The thing is, Kamara went off, Tielemans comes on, right? The quality is on the pitch, and then it comes off the pitch and it goes on the pitch. That is where we lack. Buendia, he's a class footballer. He really is.
But just to add to that, Trav, sorry to interrupt you, but you know that Tielemans obviously came on for Kamara. They got both of those players for free, Villa. They got both of those players for free. Think about it. We don't have two players in our midfield as good as either of them, and they got both of them for free. Kind of, look at our recruitment on that. But continue.
I know, and Tielemans come from Leicester, the same place that Maddison comes from.
Sorry to interrupt.
Just to make people's lives happy as well. Thomas Frank. Oh, yeah.
Was that after Lange had left?
No, I think it was.
Well, just to make everyone a little bit more happy.
Yeah.
Go on, Carl.
Just to make everyone a little bit more happy, Miguel Delaney has reported Frank on Prjctspurs. We are out there working very hard trying to improve the squad. Not that I know what that would help us at all. So on that note, we have just hit the 401 mark, where everyone is shaking their heads and fucking spinning out. Size Internet has decided to give up. Southend is ready to set fire to itself. Basildon is just the same place with Trav, so he can stay there. Oh, don't, mate. Don't. Fucking the whole of Essex is on fire right now. Frankfurt, like Phil was saying earlier, is Thursday, just in a German side. So I'm just going to rip up the pride. I'm just going to rip up the sheet now, boys. We're just going to have a fun show. We're all going to laugh. We're all going to get some therapy. But I think we will fucking get there.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
We will. Well, I know. I had to do my Wookiee impression earlier just to make Trav smile because he had a fucking stuck lemon face on and all that. But boys, let's get back into the goal. Right, you're getting muted. You're being put on mute. You're on timeout. So boys, who wants to come in on this first goal? Because realistically, it was poor again from Spurs. Trav, can you compose yourself, sir? Can you compose yourself? Do we trust him, boys? Do we trust him?
Yeah, go on. We'll let him have his moment.
Okay, one more chance, or you're on the naughty step.
You said Wookiee.
Yeah, and so the goal, Trav. Talk me through what is going on here, mate. Because this was another bad one to concede from a Spurs point of view.
The defending is just Danso. You know, Romero's obviously got his ban at the moment, and Danso's come in and rightly so. I think Danso is an absolutely superb defender, but we just fall apart. We just can't hack attacks from any team whatsoever. We literally just fall apart. The Villa press is just it's relentless, absolutely relentless. Yeah, I know we just spoke about Vicario, but he needed to be dropped tonight. I don't trust him. And Kinksky has just got so much better distribution. He's a lot better with his hands, but the whole back line and the goalkeeper were to blame tonight. There's no way Vicario couldn't have saved that. So I blame the whole of the back line and Vicario.
I don't know if I completely agree with that, Trav. I think that it was a great finish. I can't really blame Vicario and not being able to save it. I agree with the defending.
Why are they not putting their foot in? Why are they just? It's like they just stand there and just watch it happen. They don't even bother.
Yeah, 100%.
The last 20 to 30 minutes, like you got to look at the challenges Paolini was putting in. There was absolutely none of that in the first half whatsoever. We come alive in the last 20 to 30 minutes. Them challenges were some of the best challenges I've seen for a long time from Tottenham. Why is that not happening when they're threatening at our goal? That's what should be happening there and then. And that's why we went 1-0 down, because there was just nothing like that there, and that was the problem.
That's a massive problem, and I'm sure we'll get onto it, but this is the problem I've got with Frank in general at the moment. I mean, we went into that game, and I know people will be like the second half was a lot better, and again, we'll talk about it more properly in a bit, but there's nothing to lose when you're 2-0 down in an FA Cup game at half time. You go into the second half, you can go hell for leather, try and do whatever you want and just try and get some goals. And the second half performance was a lot better because, Spurs had nothing to lose. He probably just said, go out there and fight. And that's what they did. But from the first minute...
Exactly. But it seems,
the 45th,
it seems to be the running problem we've got now is all of these first halves is where we fall down, isn't it? We make our own problems. And realistically, we're not coming out of games how we want to, or coming into games how we want to, are we? We need to start fast. We need to take the advantage. Maybe Bournemouth last time out was a little bit quicker, but even that we fell apart and had to play catch up. So realistically,
what happened in the last 20 to 30 minutes? This is what I'm saying. What happened in that last 20 to 30 minutes? Why did we come alive in such a short space of time in a 90-minute game?
Because they had nothing to lose, Trav. But at half time, Frank probably went in there. We're 2-0 down. We're getting absolutely obliterated by Villa. And he's gone in there and just gone, boys, you just got to fight. Go out there and do whatever you want. We don't care about our defensive structure. We just go there and try and get a goal, try and get back in this game. There was nothing to lose at that point. At the start of the game, Frank's probably sat there and gone, oh, Villa are a great team, like he does about every team that we play, talking about how great every other team is, rather than how good we can be. And we're sitting back and we're scared. We're scared of Aston Villa. We're scared of what they're going to do to us, rather than us trying to take the initiative. We're at home in an FA Cup tie. It's Tottenham, like to dare is to do. We're Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. We're a massive football club. But yet Frank's come in with a mentality of Brentford, like we're underdogs in every game we play. Why are we underdogs? Go into a game and try and assert your own style of play, your own attacking philosophy on the game. But instead,
Joe, it's a Brentford mentality. That's what I keep saying. That is how he is managing us, is with the Brentford mentality.
But have you seen the new Brentford manager? Just out of interest,
Keith Andrews.
Yeah, but have you seen? But have you seen what? But have you seen what he says, like in his interviews before games and stuff, and how they're actually playing? Like Brentford. I know Brentford is still playing kind of Brentford football, but they've taken the front foot on quite a few of these games recently, right? They're fifth in the league, I think, aren't they now?
Yeah.
You know, like again, I don't want to compare the managers, and I don't want to just like shout Frank down now, but you know, they lost their whole forward line for like 100 million or more, probably more, right? In total, 130 million or something last summer, and they're playing better. So like, I get the feeling almost that Brentford now are not quite as, pessimistic almost about every game.
I think what it proves to me, sorry, Philip, for interrupting, but I think what it proves to me about this whole thing where Keith Andrews has come in, it proves to me that Brentford are a club and the manager is not the integral cog that makes Brentford who they are. Brentford are who they are because of everybody involved, because of the players on the pitch, because of the manager, and because of the ownership and the people behind the manager, the people who are recruiting players. Because, like you said, they've lost all these players, and now they lost Frank. And everyone at the start of the season was going, "Oh, they've lost Frank. They've lost these players. They're going to really struggle." They are not struggling, and they didn't even. There wasn't even any bumps in the road. Keith Andrews, a set piece coach, like Callum said, has come in, and it doesn't feel like any different. They're just completely solid. They look like they can go and beat anyone at any time. And yeah, okay, they're not going to be amazing, but they're just solid. You know what you're going to get from them every week. They're a competitive side, and it's not Frank that made them that. I think it's the people behind the scenes that made them that.
Well, they are a fantastically well-run club. You know, they've got a sporting director and an MD of football, right, who reports straight into, is it Matthew Benham, the owner?
Yeah.
And he's been there for 6-7 years, right? And they were aligned at the hip. But they said from day one, this is how we're going to play, this is how we're going to scout, and this is our succession plan for any players that leave or any managers that may leave. Obviously, Frank was there probably longer in some ways than they thought, but that's what we don't have, do we? We don't have that. We're a different level to Brentford, and we obviously sign different kinds of players at different levels to Brentford. But, we pay a lot. We pay a lot of money for players.
Just
we
not
pay
as
a lot
good
of
as
money for players, whether that actually is good.
Let's put it this way: we will get.
We are the sort of team that have teams talking to the team and saying we're building a brand new F1 track under the fucking stadium. Sorry, Cal.
We will get into where we go next later on in the show, but so obviously a piss poor goal to concede. So we jump forward to 31 minutes and we do lose our top scorer in Richarlison to an injury. And I didn't think I'd be praising a pigeon this early in the show. We are 28 minutes in. We are nearly at 600 people watching, and somehow I'm praising the Brazilian pigeon. But obviously, Joseph, I know you have a lot of thoughts on Richarlison usually in our group chats and when we chat on stuff. But what sort of loss does this mean now if this injury is serious to us?
It's crazy to think that halfway through the season we're relying on Richarlison. You know, when I think a lot of us would all sit there and say at the start of the season we were happy to see him go, but we are relying on him. He's been more of a consistent. Actually, no, he hasn't. He's been very inconsistent, but in a sense, he's been better than Kolo Muani, and he puts himself about and is willing to battle with the defenders and kind of hold up the ball well. And again, he has scored a couple of goals for us this season. He is our top goal scorer for a reason. But it was inevitable, isn't it? I mean, we've seen it happen probably about 2 or 3 times with Richarlison, him pull up like that with a hamstring injury. And it piles on the misery of Tottenham at the moment, especially with, Brennan Johnson being sold, Kudus getting injured. I mean, more forward players are now unavailable. And we're going into our next game really with maybe 4 kind of players that are fit. And even then, we don't know how fully fit Dominic Solanke truly is. Obviously, he came on with about 10 minutes to go, but, we're not in a good place. We need reinforcements. And again, I know obviously some transfers come out of nowhere, but now with all the different people like Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, we're not being linked with anybody at the moment. And I don't know how quickly we're going to be getting reinforcements in. But you're now missing Richarlison, which again, it is actually somewhat of a miss. As much as I don't think he should be anywhere near Tottenham Football Club, right now we need him, and we're not going to have him. We're going to have to try and trust Colomwani, who has been awful for weeks. Again, today he wasn't terrible, but he hasn't been good for a long time. And, Tellen Odebear on the wings, who, to be fair, I've been quite impressed with. I thought they played really well today. But even then, the amount of football we're playing, if they play 90 minutes each game, they're going to eventually get injured. So we definitely need some reinforcements in the window. And, the Kudus injury really highlighted that. But now this injury as well is really highlighting it, because it's not like we can trust Solanke to stay fit either. He comes back into the team. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen next week. We might end up hearing that he's either re-aggravated something, he's out for another 6-7 months, or you never know what happens to Colomwani. He could end up getting injured. So yeah, it's a difficult one. But again, when it rains, it pours for Spurs. It's just been a tough situation with the injuries. And I think you can give a little bit of sympathy to Frank for that. The injuries haven't helped him. But again, you've also got to look at the actual style of football. And that first half, the injury summarised how terrible the first half was. It was just pitiful. And it's still a big shame to lose Richarlison. As much as I'm not his biggest supporter, it's still a shame to lose him.
Yeah, but look at the other managers.
No,
Exactly the same crisis of injuries, exactly the same thing with no backing. The list is endless.
Yeah, but you got to say that the injury crisis we're in is bad. Like, it was obviously bad last year, and it may be, again, a whole wider conversation on the medical team we've got in charge and what's happening to these players. Why are we getting so many injuries? But you're looking at the available players now in the forward line. It's really bare. And if you did have Kulusevski and Maddison, and if you did have Kudus, it's not looking as bare. You've got options. You might. I mean, I still think you probably need to make a signing there, but you're not worried about it too much. But when you've got all of these injuries now, and it looks like most of them are long term, no one's coming back in the next couple of weeks. It's looking really, really difficult for us.
Yeah, it can't be a coincidence, all these injuries and last season and the season before, is it? Do you know what I mean? They need to look at the bigger picture at some point, really, don't they?
Yeah, no, I think you have a point, Si. But the one thing you would say is it is happening, like Trav said, it is happening to every club. Injuries are becoming prominent in every club. It's not just us. And the amount of football that these players are being asked to play. I mean, we must be averaging about 2 to 3 games a week at the moment. It's a lot of football for these players. And again, it's another wider conversation that probably needs to be had about the amount of football players are having to play. The fact that we've had AFCON during the season, then at the end of this season, we got the World Cup. There won't really be a break for any players. Mm-hmm. They're going to be more susceptible to injuries.
Well,
so it's something.
If we remember the Spurs season under Ange, we played probably 45 games. Last season, we played over 60. This season, we could play over 60 theoretically as well. So you guys aren't wrong. But obviously, talking of Colomwani...
Sorry to interrupt, Cal. Yeah. We've got 2 players at AFCON, Pat Matassar and Yves Bissouma. Yves Bissouma that won't even get into the team at the moment because he keeps getting caught doing balloons and God knows what else, and failing drug tests and injuries. And Sarr, you've got 2 players there. Liverpool got maybe 1 or 2 players at AFCON, Salah being one of them. Does it affect their team? Absolutely not. It's just...
But these teams are better than us. And remember, the level that we are expecting to be competing at, I think we are overrating ourselves. We should be saying we are competing with Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, all that for squads. At the moment, I reckon we are probably competing towards more Brentford, Brighton at the levels, because we've got a lot of young players who could be at the top level, but they are not there yet. And our experienced players are not doing it for us. Realistically, the most experienced player out there today who was doing it for us was Paulinho. Randall Colomwani didn't do enough for us today. Yeah. Richarlison didn't do enough. Yeah.
First half, none of them did it. I mean,
no.
Not even Paulinho did it in the first half. That second half, it looked like we brought their twins on. Every player, because they just...
Well, I mean, did they have a can of...
It looked like we had William Tell on the left, Bert from Sesame Street on the right wing, and then the second half, Matthias Tell come on, Odegaard come on, and do you know what I mean? They look totally different players the second half.
And that's the thing. I mean, realistically, what I'm going to come on to next is obviously Kolo Muani did get a goal for us in the first half, and it was a nice take and finish. But Si, I'm going to keep it with you. Should he do better in this situation of reading the line? Because realistically, he should have done that. Could have gotten into this, open this game up for us. And I remember seeing it and I thought, fucking hell, we've scored. We've actually got something to go for now. And realistically, it didn't do anything, did it?
Yeah, no, Cal. When I was watching it, I could, as soon as the ball went through to him, I could see he was offside straight away. A player of his quality, you know, a French international, he should be seeing that line and holding his run. He should be holding his run, and then we'd be back in that game so much earlier. A few games ago, I was praising him. I thought he was, but the last few games, I think Muani, he's not really shown up, in my opinion. In that, like Joe was saying earlier, Richarlison's probably been the past few games been playing better up top than what Muani has, to be honest. But I'm sure it wasn't the only time in this game that Muani was offside. There was another incident later in the game, and he was caught offside then, fractionally. And I'm thinking, you just need to look down the line. It's not difficult, and it's just annoying.
I mean, the thing that's frustrating as well in that situation is he doesn't need to be making a little run. Like, it's not one of those where he's, you know, making a run past the defender to get through on goal. He's already pretty much in front of goal. There's no reason for him to be taking an extra step. If he's onside, he's in the exact same position as he would be if he's where he was when he was offside. So exactly right side. He just needs to look across the line. It's standard striker play. You learn that in Sunday league football, let alone, you know.
You'd expect it as well, Joe, from a player that's played for PSG, Frankfurt as well, Phil, if I'm right. Yeah, he played for Frankfurt.
If I can just bring Phil in quickly. Obviously, Phil, you've been in Frankfurt for a number of years now, mate, and you have seen Kolo Muani firsthand, haven't you? How far has his downfall been since his Frankfurt days in such a short amount of time to get to this position?
He's miles off at the moment compared to how he was in that one season where he, you know, pretty much smashed it, a bit like Ekitike did, you know, last 18 months there. He's miles off. But, I mean, it just looked like there's, compared to what I saw from him before and even slightly after that, after he moved on, you know, after he moved to Paris, like, I think he started all right there. But he looks like he's 20% off, you know, the level that he was. And, you know, I know he obviously wasn't match fit when he came, you know, to us in the summer because he'd hardly played and he looked it. I mean, he couldn't even run. You know, he looked like well off it. I actually think that he still isn't, for whatever reason, I don't think he's 100% match fit. Or at least I don't think that he's like 100% physically match fit and probably mentally fit as well.
I'll tell you what,
I think he's struggling. But I don't know. You know, I think he did all right when he was at Juventus, right? You'll probably know more than me, obviously, because you're the man for that. But like, there's a very good player in there, and he's got, you know, I thought he was on the right track with us. You know, even if you go back 2 months, you know, there was a moment where he kind of just looked fitter, sharper. But there's just something missing. There's something missing, and it doesn't help though. To be fair, that he's working. He's having to play on the right, on the left, up front, you know, come in for one game there. And he's playing in a completely ineffective team. Let's be honest as well. So I think it's probably been more difficult for him than he thought it would be. And probably a lot of us thought that he would slot straight in. But look, he's miles off where he was. He's miles off.
I'm completely convinced that his head's in it.
Was he up front on his own, or I mean, what was his role when he played at Frankfurt?
Yeah, he was kind of he was up front on his own for a lot of it, but he did actually play off the right.
Mhm.
like often sometimes as well, kind of like going out wide, coming inside, a bit like how is it Nkunku,
Yeah,
Christopher Nkunku kind of played when he was like really good, because I don't know, he's kind of disappeared a bit, hasn't he?
Was
He
it
seems to
Leipzig,
have.
wasn't he? And he played
Yeah,
quite well.
when he was at Leipzig, he played very similar to Moani, kind of off the wing, but then very very effective in the middle. But he could hold the ball up, he could run with it. He's fast.
Mhm.
Today you saw maybe 2 occasions where he broke free of the Villa player and he kind of came forwards. He's got it all in his locker. But if I'm being honest, I think he had no choice but to kind of accept the
Yeah,
move to Spurs at the end of the window. And I'm sure that he was probably quite happy to kind of come and live in London and see what London's all about, but and the Premier League. But I don't think I think his head's not in it at all for
Yeah.
Spurs.
that's what I was
And
going to say. He doesn't look
Yeah, I
like he truly believes in being a Tottenham player. He doesn't seem like he's fully
Nah.
engaged in being a Tottenham player.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to go back to Juve. That's what everyone knew. He was ready to go back to Juve, but they couldn't
Yeah.
financially get it sorted, especially after getting Jonathan
And
David and Lois
the thing
Openda.
is, though, guys, he needs to perform if he wants to get in the
To the World Cup.
World Cup
In the
squad.
He
World
won't
Cup.
be in the World
So
Cup squad.
it's
He won't get
irrelevant
in there now.
who he's playing for, to be honest.
I
There's
didn't
more
realize he's 27 years old now as well. I thought he was like
Yeah.
23. He's not a young guy.
No, the next 2 that are coming through are, well, the next 3 are Barcola, Odebear, Tell, Desiree Doué. These are all the next players that are vying for his position and all that. So he needs to prove himself. But realistically, this was one where he didn't get it on this occasion. But Trav, I'm going to make your life hell, mate. 45 plus 3, Morgan Rogers, someone who was heavily linked to Spurs in the summer, got his goal being assisted by Emi Buendia, another person who Spurs have been linked with in the past. Talk me through this one, please, mate, because this was just poor by Matthias Tell in the build-up to foul to clear a ball and then lost it in no man's land to allow them to pick it up. What was going on?
Just yeah, Morgan Rogers is he's a class player, and obviously we was linked with him like we're linked with every player on the planet. But Morgan Rogers is a sort of player where you need 2 players on him at all times, because he's got an absolute weapon of a right foot, and he's 9 times out of 10 he's going to score in every single game. Give him the chance, he'll score. Like Gareth Bale when he was at Spurs, give him 2 inches, he's going to score. It's the same with Morgan Rogers. But yeah, I think Tell's too lightweight. Tell's great with his feet. He can cut inside. I don't think Tell's an awful player really, but he's too lightweight, and that's the problem with our midfield at the moment. He's far too lightweight. I think Paulina should have started the game anyway. But yeah, I don't. You can't give Morgan Rogers that sort of room and be lightweight on him. You can't have a lightweight player on the likes of Morgan Rogers, because as I said, given 2 inches, he's going to score, whether that's 10 yards or 35 yards. Screaming, he's going to score. But we just don't shut players down quick enough, and you get the likes of Morgan Rogers. You don't shut him down quick enough, he's going to score. But the whole scenario around the way the midfield defend and the way our defence defend is just way off the mark at the moment. There's just there's no solid there, and it's just that's all I can say really, Cal. We're just too lightweight and just way off the mark with absolutely everything as a team at the moment, going forward and at the back. But yeah, as you say, we was heavily linked with Morgan Rogers, but being heavily linked and not buying the player are 2 different things, and he's still at Aston Villa. So I've got nothing more to say about that, apart from we're just absolutely falling apart in our defensive respects at the moment. It's not even there, and we just look lost, absolutely lost. We really do.
No, I appreciate that, mate. We have just gone over 850 people watching live. This is outstanding. This is one of the highest viewed shows we've got so far. I'd like to obviously say thank you to every guest who comes on, because they are all our personal friends of me and Gary. Obviously, everyone who's watching, give us a like and subscribe. Go and follow all of these boys on X, on Facebook. They do all their own content, so it is greatly appreciated. We don't get anything from this. We just do it for we say a love of Spurs. I think that is strained a little bit at the moment. If I did have a love of Spurs, I would probably repair my broken tooth. But at the moment, I will keep
Carl, it's
suffering
just
with that.
therapeutic. It's
It's therapy
therapeutic for
site.
us all.
Well, it's all right. If you need anything in terms of in the Midlands, go and find Si, because he needs a lot of perking up, or you can go and hunt him down if you are Villa fans. Though I will lose a guest on this show, so we will see. But obviously, go and like and subscribe to everything we do. So we get to half time, because I think us living through these goals is killing us, unless anyone wants to come in on that second goal. I mean, Phil, do you want to come in on it at all, or have we made Trav have all the torture for it?
Trav, to be honest, I think from memory, I can't. To be honest, I can't. I'm just trying to remember the second goal.
I'll tell you what,
what was the second goal?
It was the one thing that annoyed me from the second goal was when Tell had the ball and he tried to play it down the line, and he just played it straight to the Villa player. Like, it wasn't even close to going down the line.
I think it was straight into Buendia's feet, wasn't it? He played it straight. He tried to knock it past him and then just put it straight into him, and then he was able to lay it off to Morgan Rogers.
That's the time when it's hard to just criticise the manager in that sense, because there's times when we're watching them play and it's like, it's not that difficult of a pass. And you're playing it straight to the Villa player. How do you, like? It's not something. We're not asking you to play this unbelievable diagonal pass, which another players could do anyway. We're just play it down the line. If it goes up for a throw in, at least it's slowing the game down a bit. But instead, he plays it straight to the Villa player, and it's straight back at our defense. And at that point, Villa execute both of Villa's goals. As much as it was poor defending, it was good execution from Villa. Every pass was on point. Even the flick back from Buendia into the path of Rogers was executed perfectly. We don't seem to have any of that kind of link-up play and any of the execution when we do try and link the play up.
We can't pass more than, like, if we try to come forward, if we actually try to create a move, even if it's down the flanks or, in midfield, then we cannot keep the ball for more than like three passing moves, right? Because either we do a misplaced pass, or we pass it into a player who's got two or three, Villa players or opposition players around them, and they get crowded off the ball. Like, we are so bad. It's not just the progressive passing forward. That's obviously a massive topic anyway. But even then, we just cannot keep the ball. And when we get break chances, like theoretically, that second goal that Villa did, they played it so quick after they won the ball back, and they were efficient and they were, deadly. And it wasn't really a goal on the break, was it? Because they weren't running up against us, but it was a goal that came from us passing into their territory, and they just did it effectively. We can't do any of that. We can't score goals on the break. We can't score goals quickly and efficiently, and we can't do possession-based, kind of chances or anything like that. And the thing is, like you said before, and that, we can't blame Thomas Frank for everything, because when the players just, can't execute simple passes, that's on them. But is it because of just a lack of confidence? Is it is it too much pressure?
Misplaced passes, even without any pressure on them whatsoever. They've got no pressure on them, and they can't pass it.
But they're still good enough, right? We're not talking about. We do moan about the squad, and everyone's right about that. Our squad is not strong enough, and our midfield, if you look at it in terms of its effectiveness, is nowhere near what often our opposition is. And today it was miles behind again. But the players are all at least 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 million pound players that have been scouted. And they have been scouted effectively in some shape or form, right? Like, if they're not getting the basics right, then of course that's not Frank's fault, but it is indirectly his fault because, like, do you know what I mean? They obviously they're not thinking in the right way. They're not positive. They're not at the races for whatever reason, and that's the job of the manager and the coaching team to sort out, isn't it? Really, that's the problem. But
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both, isn't it?
Everything. It's everything now. We're in a spiral.
Yeah, the
The
players
real
aren't good enough.
question: are the players not playing for the manager anymore?
Well, that's something that there's been a lot of questions over, isn't it? And realistically,
that's the question then, because the players have got the quality, and is it? Go on, Carl, take it from me.
Well, that's the thing. It's realistically a difficult one, and because obviously that goal just before half time, that doesn't set us up well, does it? But it links in quite nicely to your point, side, because obviously Frank stormed down the touchline, down the tunnel, and something obviously was said at half time, because realistically they all came out like they had they'd all down 20 Red Bulls, a monster, they'd licked a battery, everything like that, just to make them go active, because realistically we came out in the ascendancy, didn't we? And then Colin Moani actually did a brilliant flick on to get the ball to Wilson Odobert and allow him to score in 54 minutes. Now, who wants to come in on this goal? Because Trav, I like torturing him, so he can only have bad stuff. Everyone else can have goals on Spurs' part. Si?
To be fair, Cal, the way Moani won the ball off the Villa player, that was great to see. I mean, we'd been apart in the first half. Early in the first half, there were 2 times when Ben Davies, me and Phil, I agree with Phil. I was glad to see him start. Won the ball, got straight in there and got to the ball before the Villa player. And I thought that's what we want to see. And then that's what Moani did in the second half. Won that ball fairly off the Villa player, went forward, played in Odobert, and that was a great finish in the bottom corner. And we just looked a transformed team. When I was watching the game, they were showing the replay of that goal, and then all of a sudden, Xavi had a chance to equalise. I mean, I was like, have I changed channels? Am I watching a different game? It was just a total different dimension of 2 teams from the first half to the second half.
No, exactly. Phil, do you echo what Si was saying? Because it was a quick start by Spurs, wasn't it, to sort of enforce more errors from Villa. We were in the ascendancy. That goal was what we needed, wasn't it, to start that second half off?
Yeah, I mean, I expected us to kind of lose 4-0 probably at half time, right? And, like Gary said about, leaving and stuff, I don't ever really leave games early, or like turn the TV off, right? If I'm invested in a game, but I possibly could have done tonight, right? If it had gone in the wrong way. And actually we came out of the dressing room, with power. Villa looked actually a bit, kind of off it, right? When we came out straight away. The goal was good timing. It was a well-worked move. It's exactly what we needed. I can't remember the last time we scored a goal like that. Actually, when was the last time we got like some kind of slip through? I mean, that counts as a progressive through ball. No, that kind of doubles our stats for the season, doesn't it? The one in the first half was up. The one in the first half was offside, wasn't it? So that one didn't count. That would have got us onto 2. That one would have got us onto 3. The goal now. So but the last time we actually slipped someone kind of through, right, to finish from the edge of the box or inside the box. I can't even remember when that was, but it was a good finish. It was a nice goal. Moani did well as well, obviously, to win the ball, as we said, and it's what we needed. And with a bit of luck, maybe, because we did force it after that. And as you said, Si, Xavi had that chance. It was a good save, I think, really, in the end from the Villa keeper. We had a couple of other good moves. It could have, maybe we could have got the equaliser then, but we'll talk about the rest of the half. I did feel though that, again, we had a good 15-minute period there, 10, 15 minutes where we played really, really well. And then I think after that, we didn't really create that much. But I might be wrong. I might be missing a chance out that happened somewhere in there. There were some subs along the way, which we'll talk about as well. But look, I mean, just quickly going back to what was said in the halftime break. To be honest, I mean, that first half was so poor that it probably couldn't get worse. And I imagine that Frank really did just get in there and say, look, guys, that was shit. And if you want to stay in the cup, if we want to have a chance to, kind of probably win something, because he probably talked down the Champions League a bit, really. We ain't winning the Champions League, are we? Let's be realistic here. I don't think anyone believes that, and the players probably don't believe it either. He just probably said, we've got to go out there and give everything. And as you said at the beginning, Cal, I think it was you, or it might even have been Gary actually in the other one, but if you throw enough, if you put everything on the pitch and you try hard enough and you got nothing to lose, sometimes it works. And that's kind of what happened. And that's why I was feeling positive about that we came out in that way. But in the end, we didn't create 5 or 6, really good chances where you say, we probably should have scored, 2 or 3 of those. And yeah, I don't know, man. It was good that we came out that way. But as I said, Frank maybe even just said to him, I'm going to get fired, kind of, unless if you actually start playing football. And obviously, there's a good sign that they did. I think they are still playing for Frank for what it's worth. I don't think they've all checked out, officially. It's not like they're going out there and they hate the manager and, they've given up. I don't think it's like that, but I don't know, man.
It's not good enough, though, is it? And that's where, realistically, the manager shouldn't have to go in there and give them a rollicking for that. So, Joseph, I'm going to come on to you, mate, because obviously, piss poor first half, a good start to the second half. I mean, Trav, if you keep comfort eating, then you can literally spin out, mate. Literally. I mean, you and Si have a little mothers meeting in a private chat and all that. Phil, no, don't. Have a break. Have a Kit Kat. There you go. We are monetizing this. So if there are any sponsors who want to give us any support for the channel, please get in contact with any of us. We will take any support we can get. Oh, Haribo's. Lovely. I cannot do the singing voice for the Haribo stuff, so I will leave it at that. But Joseph, obviously it was a tale of two halves, wasn't it? And obviously, like what Phil and Sire both said, we did start out very well, but we shouldn't have this, should we? It should be to dare is to do. We want to be playing on the front foot. Why do we do it in such small amounts?
I mean, I don't think anyone can truly know the answer other than Frank, really. I mean, to me, I guess I have been looking at it a bit more negatively, because at first I was like, oh yeah, we did well in the second half. We did well for about a 15, 20-minute period. And then really kind of, Villa took back control and we couldn't really get anything going. And Villa kind of, recaptured some kind of composure. But I think it would have been completely different. I think if we went into that half 1-0, if we went into the second half 1-0 down, I don't think we would have seen much of a change. I think it was the fact it was 2-0. And I think at half time, obviously none of us know exactly what Frank said, but he's probably just said to them, we just got to go for it. What else can we do? There's nothing else we can do. We just got to go for it. And I think the players kind of took the handbrake off, stopped listening to this kind of negative football, this kind of ethos that we've had since Frank's come in, where we've been, defense first. I think they just went, no, we're just going to play. We're just going to try and play forward. And the thing is, you saw the fans get behind it. That kind of got the energy up and got everyone kind of gave a bit more adrenaline to the players, got them moving a bit faster, to each ball. And it was good to see. But again, that should be from minute one. It shouldn't be after going 2-0 down in a game. And we haven't seen it at all in any game so far this year, of us having that kind of energy from the start of a match. We don't bring it to our opponents. We let them bring it to us, and we try and mitigate what they can do rather than trying to threaten them. So to me, it doesn't. As much as it is a positive to see us play some better football in that second half, I just see it more as the players gave up on Frank's tactics after 45 minutes and went, screw it, we're just going to go for it. We're going to play football. Because again, like we said, Xavi, Odegaard, Tel, okay, they're all very technically good footballers. All of them are. They can play the ball well. They can, sometimes they can pass the ball well and they can dribble well. But if you give them the freedom to play football, they'll go out there and they'll create some chances. But in the first half, it didn't feel like they had any freedom. Everything was so narrow, so compact. We were just trying to stop Villa. But it's like, why? Why aren't we trying to create our own chances? Again, we're Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Like, think about what we were like under Poch. We were just free-flowing football. We were the aggressors. We would take control of the game and make it ours and absolutely destroy our opponents. But now, with Frank, it's like we're the underdog in every game. And we're just scared of what our opponents can do.
So a question for everyone. How low is the bar set now? How low is the bar?
Near enough rock bottom for me. Near enough rock bottom for me.
Phil?
I can't keep watching this football.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that we get so excited, or minimum, like from watching us actually play some football for like 10 minutes in the second half.
It was it was 15 minutes of football. It wasn't the whole half.
That should be like how we're just playing in a home game anyways, normally, right? 10, 15 minutes and then 5 or 10 minutes a bit less and then back on it kind of thing, right? That's what you got to do over 90 minutes. The bar is so low that we got excited about that. And then anyways, after that, Villa came back into it. We didn't create any like bona fide, like 100% chances after that, I don't think. And then obviously the subs came anyway, but we'll talk about that probably again separately. But
why can't we
wrong.
play?
Can I just say quick?
Did the start of the second half? Why can't we play like that in the first half? Why can't we put pressure? We were there. We were like trying to win the ball back straight away. And the first half, there was none of that whatsoever.
Can I just say one more thing, which is linked to that as well? Like what Joseph said. Maybe. Is there something in that? We said before, like probably Frank had nothing to lose, right? And the players also didn't have anything to lose. You say like, just go out there and, kind of just give it everything. We're going to go out the cup otherwise, right? But is there something maybe in what Joseph said in terms of the fact that actually the players kind of, I don't know whether they would have decided that as a collective or just kind of individuals of them said, screw this.
You've only got to go by what Romero
Screw
said
this.
about the hierarchy.
We're gonna
the hierarchy.
We're gonna go out here this half and we're just gonna play. The fact that actually like Odegaard and Tel started coming through the middle of the park and they were playing more centrally. Did Frank actually tell that to the players? Or was it a case of the players wanting to get on the ball, right, in central positions and just bloody well make something happen on their own account? And it is an interesting point, though, right? Whether Frank himself tactically or, changed something or said, hey, just go out there, or whether the players just said, you know what, we've had enough of this. That first half, we had the handbrake on, right? Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just maybe it's something worth like considering what Joseph said there.
I
about
100% agree with you. I mean, the pressing though in the second half. The first half, the pressing was non-existent. Straight from the second half, they were right in Villa's faces straight away. And I'm thinking, well, you just don't understand why they can't do that for a minute.
And that's what I mean. Let's be honest,
tactical thing.
Let's be honest, Si. Have we? I don't know if anyone else remembers. Has anyone seen us press like that in any other game this season?
No.
Only
Frank?
Only the Brentford game. The Brentford game when we was at Spurs, and I watched that live. That was the only game that maybe I'd say realistically we did it in. To be honest,
but that's what I mean. It's not
tactical.
It's not a thing of Frank. Like Frank doesn't seem to want to press high. He wants to drop back and allow the team to eventually give up the ball. Whereas we've always known Tottenham to be a team that forces the opponents into mistakes and then attack them. And under Frank, we're just not that. It's just the one thing that is so clear to me is Frank was completely the wrong hire for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. As much as even if they try and make it work and maybe he can somehow get things going a better way. The philosophy of Thomas Frank does not fit Tottenham Hotspur Football Club at all. We have
Do you
always
think
been.
it was a panic one then, Joe? Do you think it was a panic?
I don't
one for a
know.
manager?
I just think they got it wrong. I don't think it's even a panic. I think they just got
Was
it
it?
wrong.
Who would you have got in just out of interest?
I still think it was a Daniel Levy appointment.
I think
Of
it
course
was.
it
In
It
terms,
wasn't. It was a collective decision because remember, Vinay, Johan, and Daniel Levy was all part of that, and they carried out a rigorous process of shortlisting.
Yeah, but
these
Cal, how
options.
many
Cal,
arguments did they have? How many arguments did they have between the three of them to choose what manager they
I
had?
agree with
What
Travis
happened with
here,
that?
because
I'm not
how
sure
many
on that.
times have you read that Daniel Levy's the one that overrode everything and had the last say on everything?
I think something that could have swayed them is obviously you watch what we had the last couple of years under Ange. It was completely full out attack and no deep defense, like we're just completely neglecting any kind of defensive structure. So I think now when you look at it, you're like, oh, we need someone more pragmatic who's going to shore up the defense and not allow us to go and concede 4 goals a game. And that's maybe where they went with Frank, thinking he's been a solid kind of defensive manager, a pragmatic manager, but he just has, it feels like we've gone from one extreme to the other. We've gone from a manager who just wanted to attack to a manager who now just wants to defend.
I think.
And it's just, we need something, again, Pochettino he's the one that I feel like is always the yardstick we're going to compare any manager to, because he got a lot out of what we had. And look at the football we played. I know we had Kane, I know we had Son, we had some great players like Eriksen and Ali and stuff like that, but just the actual football that we played, when he came into that team, there wasn't loads of world-class players in it. Those players became world-class playing in his system of forward-thinking football. We had Danny Rose and Walker bombing up, kind of getting involved in the attack as well. We had 2 unbelievable centre-backs in Vertonghen and Alderweireld. And we just played fluid football, and we saw it every single game, no matter who we played against. We would never be scared to try and attack our opponents. But under Frank, it's like we're scared to play football. Yeah. We're just trying to stop them from playing football.
Yeah.
We need the middle of Thomas Frank and Ange Postecoglou, don't we, really? Right in the middle. We need a Frank Postecoglou, really, to be honest, to try and get us where we are, really.
The reality is, though, is that at Tottenham, right, we've gone through the Mourinho thing, we've had Conte, we've had Nuno, we've had Thomas Frank now. Like, after having the Ange experiment, at least from an attacking perspective, and obviously Poch anyway, where we pressed high, we won the ball in dangerous, and then we were ruthless, right? Like, we will not, as a fan base, accept a manager who is, I would say, more pragmatic than somewhere halfway between Thomas Frank and Ange Postecoglou, right? Or on the attacking side of things, moving forward, it ain't gonna work. Like, whoever we hire, it's got to be someone who actively, preaches that kind of more attacking philosophy, because the fan base and everything else, and the media even as well, they won't accept it any otherwise. But I actually wonder whether Frank may have missold himself, either on purpose or maybe not, like in his interviews and everything else when he was getting hired for the role. Because I think, that
we're getting hijacked. We've got a hijacker from somewhere else. Friend of the show, Adrian from Die Hards, he's hijacking us. Where you come from, mate? How you doing?
I've just been defrosting back from the game, so I haven't been in that long. Just had something to eat, and so I see the link. I thought, will you still be going? But then I thought, Spurs fans, whenever Monathon, they do carry on for quite a while. So I thought,
we were at an hour and 10 minutes. Even considered Gary cancelled us first round. But Adrian, I've obviously got all the boys' thoughts on the game. So give me a quick overview from your point of view, please, mate.
Quick overview. We weren't in it first half. They just toyed with us, basically. Second half, why can't we play like that in the first half? I mean, second half, we actually deserve to get something out of the game. I haven't watched the highlights. Have you seen both the offside decisions? Were they both offside? Yeah.
They were clearly.
Both poor runs.
Fair enough. But the positive to take out of it, I thought Tell was really good today, and Moani. I thought Tom and even Odegaard, nice goal. I mean, these kids have got potential. We can't afford to let them, and any of them go out on loan. They're still developing, but we need, it's all hands to the pumps at the moment, isn't it? So we're going to need them until he seems to have kicked on a bit more than Odebert, in my opinion. And Moani, I thought was one of the best games I've seen him play. I mean, I thought Moani was very good in tight situations as well. And Tell was very good down the flanks, So, and we've seen him.
Xavi as well, and Polinia. Did you think they were good, Adrian?
He did win a few balls and all that. I mean, I don't know.
I thought second half, Polinia.
I thought second half, Polinia was the best player.
On the scruff of the neck.
Yeah. I mean, look, we played well second half, no two ways about it. If we should start on the front foot. When we're playing fast, interchangeable football, we look good. You're still going to have teams like Villa are still going to pose a threat like they did on the break, things like that. But we rattled them. So why can't we come out and start like that, and play on the front foot? Yeah, I thought. I mean, looking at Tell now, he scored on the left with a lovely back heel from Moani away, didn't he? At Bournemouth, we lost the game, unfortunately. And then he scored on the right away from Leeds, didn't he, as well? I mean, you don't let him go out on loan. Or Odebert. Even Odebert.
I don't even think we can afford to now with the injuries we've got. We've got to keep them. And we should do. You're exactly right. They've been really good in the last couple of weeks.
No, exactly.
And we show the potential. I mean, Odebert, he came out the PSG academy when he went to Burnley, didn't he? And then when Vincent Kompany was there before he shot off to Bayern Munich, he was absolutely raving about him. I mean, what I've heard, Academy is more about this stuff than I do, but what I was told from the training ground, Odebert's beating people for fun. Well, why aren't you doing it on the pitch then? Unless he's not having the challenges.
I don't think he has the freedom. Don't think he's given the freedom to half the time.
I heard that he was just overwhelmed when we're at home from the fans and feeling the pressure, so he wouldn't do it at home as much. That's what I heard.
Exactly. Right, I'm going to bring in one other person. We are going to a panel of 7. He is broadcasting live from Belmarsh Prison after returning from the game today. It is the Grand Commander, Gary Ward. Gary, you did survive the fog, mate. We did survive you cancelling us as well. So how are you, man? Have you calmed down now and defrosted?
Yeah, apologies for that. It said leave, and I assumed that meant I could leave and it wasn't going to crash the entire stream and turn everything off. So first of all, apologies for that. I did get back. I'd rather be in Belmarsh Prison than probably sit through that first half again, to be fair. The first half was poor. Again, second half, it was quiet. And like I said before, in the other stream, it felt like a lot of those players just went, fuck it, let's just go. Let's just go for it. We ain't got nothing to lose here. And I kind of just felt that in the stadium, that everybody just thought, this is it. Our whole season relies on this 45 minutes. And as Adrian said, I think in a couple of the offsides, I'm in the corner, I can't see, but it's just so frustrating. I don't know how close they were.
They were all off.
They were all off.
Okay.
Yeah.
The biggest issue that I had as well is I normally sit, as I always say, in front of the media section. It wasn't available, so I had to choose a new place. Completely got the wrong place. I sat next to. I could have touched the Villa fans. So
is that why you was in? Is that why you're broadcasting Belmarsh Prison now? Because you got done for touching people up in the stadium.
It got involved in the Watkins Paulinia scuffle at the end of the game.
I'd have jumped in on there. I don't know how far I'd have got, but yeah, it was a difficult game to watch. I honestly felt like a number of the players just, in a way, said, you know what, he might be telling me something I got to do in that changing room, but I ain't doing it. I'm just going for it. And and I know that he gets a lot of stick, and I've got me pictures ready, as I'm sure you'll be happy. But I nearly kicked on someone else that doesn't play for us anymore. But how this guy is not wanted by a large majority of the fan base is just absolutely shocking to me. 25 million apparently we're potentially going to get. He is
Gaz, I thought he grabbed
is-
this game. The second half by the
Yeah.
scruff of the neck, I thought.
He did what Christian Romero should be doing and grab hold of everyone and say, get on my back, let's fucking go and let's go for it. He was immense. He was fantastic, and he should. And that was a captain's sort of display, I thought, in that second half, especially by him. He needs a ball playing midfielder around him. Let's not beat around the bush. He desperately needs that. But he did so well. Danzo today again, thought he was fucking brilliant.
Palina, sorry. Gary, just quickly on Palina, I thought in the second half, though, like what you said about listening to instructions from the dressing room or something, I thought Palina looked pretty good in terms of coming forward. Like, he wasn't obviously just sitting back and, like doing tackles and stuff. He was like everywhere, but he was also like bringing the ball forwards.
Yeah.
Right? He was at the penalty box. He wasn't playing a defensive role in the second half,
But then him and this man as well were both getting forward as much as possible in that second half, weren't they? I think they just looked like they was unshackled, realistically, because they kept dropping in and out of sitting between the centre backs in the first half.
Gray was playing deeper than Palina in the first half.
Yeah.
He was sitting back there, and he was doing all right. I mean, I'm a big fan, but with Palina, I mean, it's not that fans don't want to get rid of them. I think we don't know what we're going to do in this transfer window, do we? And we can have 8 midfielders. If you've got 22 players and the third goalkeeper's 23, you've got 2 spare slots to 25. I'm all for having 8 midfielders. Most games are won and lost in midfield. Give me 8 midfielders. I think depends who we bring in, and knowing that Decky and Maddison will be back at the end of the season, that will play a part in the transfer thinking. I think it's a question where you keep him for 30 mil. I mean, the club might try and do a Levy and get him for 15. I'm not against keeping Palino. I haven't. No. But me and Gary have had this conversation before. I just wonder if the club will keep him. But if he scores bangers as he does at Bournemouth, the plays like this.
You just got to look at that second half for me. Second half just proved to me that he loved it, and he put in a performance. And they're the things that we need. Xavi Simons again. I don't know if it came across on the broadcast, but there was a couple of moments where there was players down. He was coming over to the opposite side to the dugout where I was sitting, and he was like, "Come on!" Like such passion from him. Just quickly though, I don't know if you've covered anything from Thomas Frank's press conference, which I can read out. But there's over 1,000 people watching this right now. 1,007, which is absolutely incredible. This is easily the largest audience we've had. We've only been doing this, 5 weeks? Fantastic. I don't even think we've been doing 5 weeks, to be honest. Thank you, everybody, so much. And obviously, you guys as well that are sitting on here after really just a disappointing season, because that is it. Our season is over, essentially.
Realistically,
Joe, Si and official caster, if you can put your phone numbers, if you want, in the private chat, I can add you to the WhatsApp group, and you can join in a conversation with Gary and Callum in our WhatsApp group, because and it isn't a toxic, but it's a mature and sensible WhatsApp group. I left all the other ones because they're just too toxic for me,
But
it's good. Everyone supports themselves.
So realistically, we've covered, I would say, probably all of the game. To be honest, we obviously had the 2 offside goals. Gary, obviously, we have been covering little bits on the sort of press conference, but there have been little bits coming out all the way through. So obviously, Frank is wondering what the next stage is. We've seen bits where he doesn't know the extent of Richarlison's injury as well yet at the moment. He said that there are a couple of other knocks in there. So is there anything that you can enlighten us on, please, mate, in regards to if you've seen anything different at the moment?
I've not seen anything different. There is a lot of talk again that he's potentially going to leave. There is a couple of accounts I have seen saying that he probably may leave tonight or at least tomorrow. I don't know how true that is. If it is true, I'll be on Die Hards tomorrow night anyway, so we'll be talking about it on there.
Yeah, I think me and you are both on with Adrian and Ian tomorrow for a bit, so we'll see.
We'll be on there discussing that if that happens. But I heard his press conference and some stuff after the game on 5 Live or Talksport, one of the two. And he said, look, if we got the second half performance all the time, we'll be in a different position, which I do agree. He said that we're kind of struggling at the moment to get 2 halves of consistency. You look at Sunderland in the first half, we were brilliant. Second half, we were terrible. And then it repeating today, but the opposite way around. So there were the things that he mainly said. But it's I don't know where we go from here. Look,
this is the thing, Darren. This is what we've been talking about. We've been saying, why is it that we, the first half was so negative, and then as soon as again, like you said, I think the players they stopped listening to him and they just went, you know what, we're going to try our best to get back in this game. We don't care about the tactics. We don't care about what's going on. We've got a fan base here of 50,000, 55,000, almost 60,000 probably, all here wanting to see us play football, and we've been giving them crap week in, week out recently. Let's just go and play. And it just doesn't. It feel we set up in that first half. At least it came across watching it from home. We set up because we were scared. We were scared of Villa. It felt like it was so negative. They didn't have any belief that they were going to be able to get anything from the game. And the second half, because you're 2-0 down, at that point there's nothing to lose. It's a cup competition. There's nothing to lose. You just go for it, and they went for it. And it's hard to. That's what we've been really talking about, because we just don't understand why we don't play this way all the time. This is Tottenham. This is what we expect from Tottenham, and we don't get to see it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was a disappointing overall game, I thought, in both the first half and then the second half. Like you say, Joe, like, where does this come from? Because I was ready to go home at half time. I think in our groups, I was ready to go home. I was freezing cold. I thought, we're just going to get humiliated here. I'll give it 10 minutes. And then we sort of came alive. But I genuinely, honestly feel like those players just said, this is it. I'm just going to go balls to the wall. Our season's essentially over. But just before I sort of pan out and not dominate this, 6 years ago, we were in the Champions League final, and all we needed to do was just a small number of players to bring in to progress us. And you look at what Liverpool have done in that time period, and look at where Aston Villa were during that time as well. I've never seen a team that have regressed at this alarming rate, and that we are consistently trying to chase what we had under Pochettino in terms of recruitment of players, younger players. And then, look, I want him back personally, and we're just going to go in this big circle, go back to where we were. I feel like we're a bit of a laughing stock at the moment, and it's really disheartening.
I'm on the Poch bandwagon with you guys.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know the other options. I genuinely don't know the other options that can change it. Right now, Xavi Hernandez is available. I don't see Xavi Hernandez coming in.
No. Well, I will come on to that next, as I want to sort of pivot towards what we do see from the future. But obviously, a big thanks to Travis Caster for coming on tonight. His little one needs to go to bed, and Travis wants to go and get high off of Haribo mix. So, as we know, he will be hyperactive. So, if anyone wants to go and drop Trav a follow and a like, please do, and take very big caution if he is hyperactive tonight. But I've got a couple of people who I want to show on here, because realistically the future is very bleak, and these are going to be the people realistically deciding it, I think, going forward in the next couple of days. So obviously Vinay Venkatesan, our CEO, who apparently has a good relationship, as Frank has put it this week, he has a lot of trust in him. Johan Langer, who is one of our co-sporting directors of football, who seems to have been a major factor in the appointment of Frank at the start. And then a man who has divided opinion of our fan base, but is still at Spurs at this present time, even though, according to media and other sources, he is under offer to go to Fiorentina as part of that. And it looks like he's already done some work as Fiorentina sporting director by co-signing Manor Solomon to go on loan there while still working for Spurs. So it seems to match his business model of how he's done it with Juventus in the past. I want to open the floor to everyone here, because realistically, where do we lie? Do we have confidence in these people to make decisions for us? Do we feel that they will stick with Frank? Will they go for a Pochettino that Gary wants, a Nagelsmann who Phil wants, a Unai Emery who Sai wants? Adrian and me will be happy with Wayne Burnett at the moment. Joseph will be happy with Scrooge McDuck. So, I mean, where do we go? So who wants to come in, guys? Because I think this needs to be a bit of an open floor one here.
I'd like to start if I can.
Go for it, mate.
I mean, first of all, give me Harry Redknapp. Let's get him back in charge. But no, I mean, I don't have too much trust in the hierarchy. I think they probably will hang on to Thomas Frank for the rest of the season. I really hope not. I don't think it's worth it. As much as I think this season is kind of over now, you know, I think it'll be worth sacking him, maybe getting an interim in if you can't get the guy that you truly want. And then you look at, you know, going again in the summer and seeing who you can get. Yeah, possibly Pochettino after the World Cup. I think that would be the perfect. You know, I think it's right to get someone like that, someone we know is going to give us the football we want. Because at the moment, you know, there's too many variables. You don't know what other managers are going to come and bring to Tottenham at the moment. And again, the thing, I really don't trust the hierarchy. And the one person I did truly, or kind of trust, was the one who's going to be leaving, which is Prjctspurs. You know, Vinay, he did well at Arsenal, but again, it doesn't mean he's just going to do well at Tottenham. It's a different place. Everything around it is different. And Johan Langer, I still don't even know why we've got him. I don't see really much positives from Johan Langer coming to Tottenham. I don't think he's very good at what he does. Again, I understand he's got he seems to be okay on the youth side of things, but we need more than that. We've got enough youth players. We need established stars to come in. You know, we look at what we were when we had Kane and Son. We had world class players that people wanted to go and watch week in, week out, that gave us the football that we want. We don't have any of them right now. And the ones you would say are on the cusp of being world class in the terms in the sense of like Van de Ven, Romero, they're both going to probably want to leave in the summer and try and force their way out of the club in the way that we're going at the moment. So I don't trust the people in charge. I don't trust the people above them. I feel like maybe we might be getting gaslit into thinking we're going to be having a good window when so far, 10 days in, all we've been linked to is, well, all we're going to be at the moment is a 19-year-old left back from Brazil who probably will end up going out on loan or probably won't get involved in the first team very quickly. And we need so much more. You know, we clearly need offensive players. We probably need a striker now after Richarlison's injury, and we also need wingers after Kudus going out and Brennan Johnson being sold. We need a ball playing midfielder. I don't know if you can even get that in January. There's so many holes, and there's so many players that don't really seem good enough for Tottenham Hotspur, which again, you're not going to be able to sort this all out in one window, but it's just a mess at the moment. And I feel like most Tottenham fans are in that same place. We don't even know what to think, where we're going to go. We've got no direction. And I think the one thing they have control of right now is the manager. That's the only thing they can really change. And that's what we need. Again, if it's an interim who comes in for the rest of the season, like it looks like Chelsea have done, like United have done, then fine. You know, I think that Tottenham fans will accept that. But sticking with Frank in this moment, it just doesn't feel right to me. That it feels like they've got it wrong and they need to rectify their mistake. And again, if you could go and get Xavi, I'd be all for it. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I don't think you're going to be able to get the right manager in this moment right now in the middle of January. So maybe an interim works. I don't know who that would be. Obviously, I mean, people might say like Ryan Mason, but he just got sacked from West Brom. I don't know if that would be the right one. I would 100% take Harry Redknapp for the rest of the season. I would absolutely.
He'll do it for free.
I'd absolutely love it. It could give us some vibes. He's the type of guy to just go like, yeah, go play football. Paulinho, you like to tackle, you go tackle. Like he'll just be like.
The thing about Harry is he gives the players confidence. He makes them believe they're the best they could possibly be. And you know, for an interim manager, I'd take him. I agree with
Be
you,
like,
Jen.
let's go
100%.
get Nico Cranchar back at the club. We'll get Nico Cranchar back in.
I'd really rather he didn't, to be honest. But I'm going to open it up. So who wants to come in next, guys, on that? Sai, Phil, Adrian? Who wants to come
Just
in
jump
next?
in before I go off because I've literally walked in. I agree pretty much with everything that Joseph just said there. For me, there is zero leadership from the very top of the club all the way to the bench currently. As I said a minute ago, 6 years ago, we was in that Champions League final. All we needed was a couple of additions to really kick us on as a football club to start competing on all fronts like the ownership now is saying. 6 years ago, we're an absolute 6 years later, we're an absolute shell of what that club and team essentially was. And partly as a fan base, we're so split and divided at the moment. All the top players left. The manager was sacked when he just essentially needed backing. And we've regressed at an alarming rate by given the same spiel by the ownership time and time again. There's no direction from them, and it's unfortunately I don't see there's any direction on the bench right now. And as I said a minute ago, I honestly believe those players tonight said, "Fuck it, let's just go for this because this is our season's on the line," and they went for it. The biggest issue with our club is the ownership. They say the same thing. They said it in the summer. They've said it nearly every month since. And as Joseph said, 10th of January, we've seen absolutely nothing in terms of ambition from them to kick us on as a football club. And this more wins more often crap that they put out. I'm really annoyed by it. I really, really am, because it costs a lot of money to support that football team. And I go every home game. It costs a lot. It ain't just a ticket. It's fucking fuel. It's food. It's parking. It's everything on top. It's not being with your family and things like that. It costs a lot of money, and we get the same crap. You know, oh, let's go and put a T-shirt on sale today for 150 quid, and like we don't see anything from them in terms of proper ruthlessness in the January transfer window that we see from other clubs. We're just a cash cow at the moment, and I'm really, really annoyed by it. I really, really am, and I genuinely think that the ownership is the issue. Honestly, I'd take Mr. Bean at this point on that bench, because I'd go and sit on it. I guarantee you, I'd get more out of them than what he's done. Because
I think you deleted that photo.
I thought
you deleted that photo.
Charge, guys.
I would have grabbed hold of most of them in that changing room. I would have, because you got to show some fucking fight and passion about what you're doing. And what is this constant not shooting from range? We just don't ever take a shot from range. There's so much wrong with us at the moment. It's so frustrating to see. I genuinely believe, I think this gentleman will be a caretaker manager for us if and when Thomas Frank is sacked. That's Wayne Barnett. I genuinely think he'll be the manager for the rest of the season. I can't see Thomas Frank getting past West Ham. I don't think he's going to get there. And I would hold on to him, Wayne Barnett, for the rest of the season. And I'd put everything I had at our tails between our legs and say, sorry, Mr. Pochettino, we was wrong to let you go. Please come back and help us. Because he can do one thing at the moment that no manager around really can do. And he can unite probably 70% of this fan base. And to me, he's got enough credit in the bank that if he says, hi, lads and ladies, this is going to be a painful rebuild. It's going to take us a few years. I guarantee the six of us are going to go, okay, we're with you, because you've got money in the bank with us. You've got credit in the bank. I don't see anybody else. There's obviously other names that would be a dream, but I genuinely just don't know where we go from, because the fan base is so split. But I am going to log off. I'm not going to press anything. I'm just going to drop out. But I appreciate you so much. And there is 1,050 people watching this. And thank you again for the support. Callum doing a great job. Lads, thank you so very, very much. I'm going to go and have a switch off from that now. But thank you all again.
Cheers, Gary, as always.
See you,
Adrian, I'm going to come to you, mate. Obviously, Gary said about this man himself, who we are a big fan of, in Wayne Barnett. Would you be happy if he came in and was our interim manager if Thomas Frank was to lose? Oh, you just
Managing and
muted, mate.
managing now, that's not going to change anything, is it? We are where we are because what happened back in the days of Poch when we went 518 days without a transfer. So we have failed better in the transfer. I mean, we've seen some sort of light. I mean, a lot of kids have been given games like Graham Bergvall and Odebert Tell, and Moani and that. And we can see they're players that have got a future at this football club. But it's a lot of kids in the team when we need an experienced midfield general in there that can dominate games, like what Pelina did today. So, I mean, you look at the summer, Poch will be available. You don't know how England will do. You've got Tuchel, Nagelsmann. You've got Xavi hasn't got a job. You've got Zidane out there. I mean, but the only way you're going to get a decent manager in this football club is if we do some business in this window. And Enid can't hide and bottle this because they sat behind Levy for 25 years. They could have stepped in after 10 years if they weren't happy, but they were happy to see their asset grow in such value that they're happy to stick with Levy and his way of doing things, right? Which has failed the football inside, been great for the club, been great for, making us have the best stadium and the best training ground in the world, but hasn't done nothing for the football team. What we've badly done, we've either stagnated or we stood still or we tread in water. And we need to bring in a few signings in this window. And no excuses, it's hard to do it in the window. No excuses at all. Get them in. I mean, we won't attract elite players because of our position, even though we've got Champions League football. But you can attract those players below that level. You could go to Juventus tomorrow, or even when Phil watches German football, you could go to Leipzig and say straight away, right, the kid's 19. Just say, right, we'll give you 75 million for Diamandi. They would sell him. You could go to Juventus or Skin as well and say you'd give him 75 mil for none of this complicated deals with extras. Just say, right, amount, no extras, no add-ons, nothing at all. Just tell us what you want. And if they said 75 mil for Yildiz, just pay the money and get him in. Just get him in, right? And then, I mean, I would take Paqueta at West Ham, but me and you are bigger fans of Aklouis. She's 5 years younger, but Paqueta could do a job for us at 26 mil. It's a no-brainer. Even Frank said I want players early in the window, and it went at day 10. So early in the window with me is the first 2 weeks.
Well, the thing I'd actually say, Adrian, as well on it, like to me, I find it hard to see how the ownership can't go and spend money on players right now because you've got to think about what their profit margins are looking like. I'm sure they're not losing money because of the amount of money Tottenham can make, but tickets aren't being sold. Eventually, season tickets will start to go down because if this football is going to stay the same, people are not going to be bothered about going to see Tottenham. You've got, the place we're finishing in terms of finishing 15th, 17th in the league, you're earning significantly less money than you are if you finish in 4th. Eventually they're going to start losing money, and they've got to realize that, okay, if we want bums in seats, we want people to come and watch our team, we need to get them players that are excited, that make them excited to go watch it. Let's be honest, Kane and Son were 2 massive draws for Tottenham fans to go and watch Tottenham. We wanted to go see world-class footballers give us world-class performances. I mean, we saw, obviously, Son had his own kind of a fan base that would want to come and watch him because of what he was to them. And we had that as well with Kane. Kane is genuinely one of the best players I've ever seen play football. And people would go and watch Tottenham because, you're going to watch Harry Kane, the best striker, England's number 9. Tottenham don't have any player like that right now. There's no player. No one's going to Tottenham going, I can't wait to watch Kolo Muani. I can't wait to watch Matthias Tell or Odobert. Spurs need to go and spend money and go get a player, or at least get a player who has the potential to be completely and utterly world-class. So they need to go and spend money. I don't understand how they couldn't. It wouldn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I do have sympathy with Frank because we've lost our 4 main goal scorers from last season. You've lost Decky, chipped in with about 10 or 12. You lost Maddison, did the same. You lost Sankey, chipped in with 15 in all competitions, and Johnson chipped in with 18. You could even add Son to that if you want to add a 5th player. So it seems to me whoever we'd brought in as manager, they might have got a slightly better tune out of this squad. But I think we still would have been inconsistent because we got a lot of young kids. We are a young side anyway, even without them in it. I mean,
the
Adrian,
average age of our squad is still 24.
Yeah,
that's the thing. The average age of our squad is still 24.
We need.
Adrian, we'd lost Decky, before Frank had taken over and stuff, haven't we? We'd lost him under Ange. I'm sure they knew Son was going under Ange, that there was a potential he was going to leave. So they should have been looking at this beforehand to get the players in, shouldn't they, in the summer? To cover those things?
Yeah, they should have been having conversations in the summer. And what does the recruitment team? Even Rob McKenzie said, if you go back, he said, we're not looking to bring youngsters in. Well, if you've got a generational talent, that's different. If you're bringing a Lamel in or someone like that, that's different, right? Even Yildiz, he's a generation talent. That's different, right? Then you go from the kid we're getting in Sousa, he looks a talent. But what you don't see in those videos, you don't see is like, you don't see him defending from set plays as a defender. And you don't see his heading ability either, although he's 6 foot. I've watched 3 videos of him. He looks decent, right? I think, well, anything would improve us. I think he will. He's very pacey and good.
So I'll tell you what, though, Adrian, like when I remember when we got Emerson Royale. Yeah, I'm about to say, I remember when we got Emerson Royale, and you look at compilations of him and think he was a world beater, but look what he turned out to be. So I'm holding my breath.
Yeah, but there's things to look for in videos, isn't there? Because like everyone says to me, oh, they always look good in the videos. Hang about. If I'm looking at a midfielder or an attacker, when I'm looking at the videos, I'm looking for players with vision, who move the ball quickly, who can make things happen. Right now,
Son Spurs don't fucking do.
They could make, they could score a goal out of blue. They could do it for themselves without other people helping them. We've seen them with great individual goals and things like they could do that. With defenders again, I mean, you're looking for positional awareness where they spot. Apart from the obvious, can you head the ball and tackle? Right? Can you read the game? Spot danger and close it down. You know, is your positional good? If your plan is a 6, can you stop the opposing 10 from playing through your lines? Can you spot him and see him? You know, and do things like that. There are things you can look for in videos. I mean, I'm not a scout or a coach or nothing like that. I've just watched football for decades, you know, so I like to think I picked up a few things. So there are things you can watch in good videos of players. You know, you can do that. And we need to bring in, I mean, Phil said, I mean, that you know, Frankfurt would sell Nathaniel Brown, but I think they probably had that conversation and found out that it wasn't for sale. Hence, we've gone in for Sousa. Now, we may or may not have had conversations with Akluush. Now, apparently, we're looking a bit harder. Maybe it's because we've tried to get others in, like a Conor Gallagher, or didn't want, or someone else in. So now they're going back to Akluush. I don't mind because I like Akluush, but that's only my opinion. Other Spurs fans will be going, who? You know what I mean? Because like they will.
This is the thing you've got to. This is the thing you've got to be worried about, though. Like I know you mentioned Kenan Yildiz. Like I'm a big Juve fan. I watch a lot of Juventus football, and he is by far world class. He is the only reason why Juve have done anything good this year, and he is unbelievable. But for me, I find it hard to believe that he would want to join Tottenham. Like, there'd be no reason to. There's no reason for him to do that. I mean, Tottenham don't, unless they're going to pay him astronomical amounts, which Tottenham don't do. Tottenham don't do that.
You say that, Joseph. I mean, we play in the Premier League, the best league in the world. We could probably pay him a lot more than what Juve are.
Yeah, but
5 mil.
It's more than that.
5 mil a year.
Yeah, but it's more. It's more than that though, because Yildiz has got 1 year left on his contract. He could play out the year at Juve, and then he has a pick of any club. Because genuinely, I believe he could play for any club in the world. You know, debatably, I think he could play for any club in the world. I think he would. I still think for me, if I'm him, I would rather stay at Juve for 1 more year and then go to Arsenal or go to Liverpool, because these clubs will want him, and they already have been linked to him.
I mean, he's mates with Arda Güler, the other Turkish international who's at Real Madrid. So, I mean, literally, we are looking at the right profile of players. But what we have to say, and everyone's made a very good, valid point, what would it take to make them to come to Spurs? And we, at the moment, are out of 2 cup competitions. We have very tough games against Dortmund and Frankfurt to come in the Champions League. We are sitting 14th in the Premier League. We have a manager who we don't know whether he'll be there or not tomorrow, let alone next week. We're signing a 19-year-old left back who looks very good, but will take time to adjust. We have a squad that are literally half dead, half walking wounded. And to be honest, I think if all 5 of us here could put our boots on at the moment, they would probably take us because we could still pass the medical tests on that one way or another. I mean, we've got me as a backup right back. I'm sure Adrian can play as sweeper. Joseph, I know you can play either on the wing or in the middle, can't you, mate? Phil up top and Si as a cheerleader. I mean, fucking hell, we've got a proper good setup there. But realistically, we are in a dark spot, aren't we, at the moment? And we are 20 days remaining on the transfer window. And Phil, I know you want to come in now, mate, to say some stuff. So, I mean, but realistically, it's not looking good, is it, at the moment?
Is Thomas Frank also the man, regardless of his tactics and, you know, any progress he's made or improving players or the vision, but is he also the guy to try to persuade some of these top talents and players to come to join us?
And Langer won't do it.
You know, like he won't. And like before, you know, a lot of people bigged up Ange, right, for having conversations, right, with players and, you know, getting them on board, obviously, with his Ange ball and with his attacking philosophy, bringing it back to Tottenham and stuff. Before that, we did have, you know, we still had Mourinho, Conte, Poch. But we had, you know, as we've said already, we had Kane and Son. And, you know, the fact that we actually managed to lose Kane still when we did, and we didn't supplement our team with world-class talent around them, like, still pisses me off on a daily basis. I have to watch Kane play here for Bayern, who I hate. Like, you either love or you hate Bayern in Germany, right? And I hate Bayern. They're like the Man U, you know, kind of, you know, Chelsea, whatever, right? Like the team that you love to hate, right, really, in Germany, right? Because they got all the money. But when you see what he's doing there, how did we manage to lose him? But these are just things, how you bring those other top players in. And right now, the only stars that we've really got in our team, who you could genuinely say are like stars on a European level, probably Xavi, in terms of the fact he's played for Netherlands for 40 caps or something already. You know, he's played in multiple leagues. Van der Ven, obviously. Yep. Romero, in terms of his profile. Porro, maybe. Like, at least kind of on.
Porro. I think it's just them three.
Oh. Yeah, so we got three. Kudus, I wouldn't count in that either, by the way. Solanke, no, like, Solanke is respected. But, like, when I talk about, you know, Europe, like European football and stuff, and you look at foreign players coming in, like, we don't have that many players in our squad who genuinely, like, they can either say, you know, I can't wait to come to Spurs to play with these people together. And if Thomas Frank is the guy on top of that as well, who's kind of like chatting to the player and like, oh yeah, come into my project. Like, what are we actually selling? Like, we don't know what Thomas Frank's vision is because we can't see what Thomas Frank is trying to do from a footballing philosophy perspective. But what is he telling to the players, and what is he telling to prospective players about what our project is? Does he even know what the project is at the moment, based on the ownership, based on the fact that we've got a Prjctspurs who is in limbo, seemingly? Like, no one really knows. Like, okay, we understand he's going to Fiorentina. He's not on garden leave. He's still working for the club. Lange is very clearly a youth player guy, right? So moving forward, like, Lange can look after the youth. I don't have a problem with that. If he's like looking at the talents, you know, I think he was also supposed to be some kind of medium in the middle for bringing the youth players through to the, you know, that thing in the, you know, how do you say, like some conduit in the middle to bring them through to the senior team to get that pathway. That's all fine. But we have a director of football right now who, in my opinion, still is a bit of a glorified scout, like super big scout guy. I don't think that Prjctspurs, in my opinion, if I compare our setup to other clubs in Europe, the top clubs, that we have the right kind of footballing structure still there. And we then hired people like the Aussie guy, Scott Munn. You know, I hate mentioning him because he's, you know, yeah, he was the guy there. And, you know, there's that picture of him in the airport, like, bar or somewhere. He looks completely like lost, like, you know, the fact is, right, is that regardless of the Thomas Frank question, as we all agree, the ownership of our club is to blame, and it's not in a good state. It's in a mess. We don't know if we're selling or if we really are investing. We don't know that. But we have no real structure in terms of that footballing philosophy that comes from the top. That doesn't come from Vinay. That has to come from probably one layer below that, you know, from a footballing CEO or a footballing managing director, a football man, but someone who also has the ability to build teams, to create a culture, and to make sure that hiring is done in a very consistent way. And I never really saw personally Prjctspurs, and obviously not Lange, but Prjctspurs as being that guy. And I was surprised when we got him back. But I think it was Levy that got him back in the end, wasn't it? Or he was Levy's guy, kind of. But then obviously he came back after that. So Vinay still got him back in. But like, we need a reset on that. And first of all, with all these transfers that are happening, assuming that Prjctspurs is still dealing with it, like, they need to invest, as Joseph said as well. They need to put the money on the table, regardless of whether Thomas Frank is the manager or not. They need to put the money now, because the fans are going to revolt. Otherwise, we've got to such a toxic position now that all of those protests are going to come out, but they're going to come out 3 times as big because Daniel Levy's gone anyways. And we have no overview at the moment of where we're going, what we're doing, what is the real vision, what type of football do we want to play? You know what I mean? So, like, all of that on top of Thomas Frank at the moment is just causing, I think, a lot of concern and a lot of additional negativity from Spurs fans out there who are probably very worried, not just about the way that we're playing football or the lack of, you know, like Thomas Frank thing, but the way that our club is kind of progressing now, or how we're going to try and progress to the next stage. Because no one really knows. No one can tell us. No one really knows that.
I don't think Frank will resign, and I don't think Enoch will sack him. And the reason I think they won't do it unless it's to the summer, if there isn't growth and progress after whatever business we do in transfer windows, if you get rid of Frank now, all the guns are aimed at Enoch, which they should have been years ago anyway, right? All the guns aim at Enoch. Are they going to want to be embarrassed to admit they've made a mistake? Most things we've done at this club, we've done them surreptitiously. When we've got rid of people, we've picked our time to make announcements. We've done it when it clashes with something else. We do it when the transfer window's closed, or at the end of the season. I think he's safe until the end of the season. I mean, I know a lot of the fan base want him to go. I just don't see Enoch. He's the first one they brought in under Charlie and I forget her name now. Viv, under Charlie and Viv. Yeah, I don't think they're going to want the pressure that goes with. If you get rid of Frank, it's not just getting rid of Frank and putting in. It's then all the pressure's on Enoch. Where it was on Levy before, it's all on Enoch, and it should be on them anyway. Let's be fair. Because
Adrian, I totally agree with you, because it was always aimed at Daniel Levy beforehand. Everything, all our deficiencies, all our underachievements were all aimed at Daniel Levy. Now he's gone, and we're still in that same spot. You're exactly right, because once they get rid of Frank, we find out what the actual issue is.
So let me put a question out there. This might blow this podcast up, and we might end up getting completely cancelled. Could it be that Daniel Levy himself was hamstrung by Enoch, and that he was just operating under the remit that he was set? Because since he's gone, we've got the same problems, just with different people at the forefront, haven't we?
Well, they found money now he's gone. Now, the question was at the time, Levy had a third stake in Enoch. Probably hasn't sold his stake yet or whatever. So who's going to put the money up? If Enoch are putting the money up, they're probably saying, oh, Levy, well, we're putting some up. How much are you putting up? This is one reason why I don't want to invest. I said it over 3 seasons ago. I said, like, fans get excited, oh, new investor, it's going to change. It's going to be great. No, investors want a return on their money, or they want their stake to increase in value, right? That's what investors want. And the more investors you got, the worse it got. If you get an investor in this football club, it's going to make it 10 times harder to sell it in the future. You've got another body you've got to convince to part with their stake. there's already 30,000 private shareholders, and then you've got ENIC, and I don't know if Levy must still have his shares, but I dare say they could pressure him to sell. So investors not the answer. We need new owners, basically. That's what we need. We need a new owner. But it's got to be the right owner as well.
Not an oil company. Not an oil company or country.
The due diligence has to be done on a prospective buyer of the club, doesn't it? I mean, you're not going to get anyone that rich that doesn't come with political insensitivity. It doesn't work out. You don't have multi-billionaire people out there that haven't got a dodgy background or skeletons in the cupboard. It just maths don't work that way, do they? So you want the purest of the pure, really, that's out there. The purer you can get. And there will be. But I mean, look, we are ripe for picking. We're in an ideal situation with a jewel in London.
Yeah, but at the moment, ENIC don't look like they're looking to sell. I mean, there was obviously all the rumours of the prospective buyers previously, and they made an offer, and ENIC very quickly shut the door and just went no.
If you look at fans that have been more passionate as in demonstration, like Newcastle, they couldn't get Mike Ashley out. He only went when he wanted to sell.
Exactly. So let's be honest.
Although it's our football club, ENIC do own it. We can't force them out.
No,
we can't force them out.
The thing is though, that's the line that ENIC are putting out there, that they're not for sale, and they've made that quite forcefully. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not open to a sale. If the right parties come in and the right numbers are discussed, right? I think that there could be a sell. There could be a possibility of a sell, but it very much depends on what kind of people come in for us, or what kind of entity comes in for us, and whether they're willing to put up enough cash on the table, like up front. That's the thing. Because the club is valued extremely highly, right? Also compared to other, comparative clubs. Didn't they valued us higher than Chelsea, didn't they? I think in the last kind of valuations a few months back when all those rumours were going.
I read some reports that said the value of Tottenham Hotspur could reach, this is in years to come, like 12 to 13 billion, right? But don't forget, it won't just be Spurs. You've got all the rest of the third world that buy shirts and TV rights and things like, and all the spin-off companies that are involved with that. I mean, if someone like Elon Musk wanted to come and name the Spurs to SpaceX, he's the richest man in the world. So 5 billion to him is peanuts, right? Google are worth over a trillion, Alphabet and Meta, and then so they could come and it would be peanuts to them.
I still can't believe we haven't had a naming right to the stadium yet.
I don't. But you see, if you buy anyone, you've got to have someone like that come in. It's got to be like a trophy for and show off to it, because you don't buy a football club to make money. I mean, you might make a load of money, but you don't make money running a football club. If you've got a football club, if you were SpaceX or Microsoft or whatever, you'd be buying Spurs, because when you buy a Spurs and a Jewel, you've got hundreds of thousands of companies, hundreds of partners. They'll all want a piece of action. They want to come and support Spurs. Elon Musk would then want to seduce all his professional clients at the Tottenham Stadium and things like that. So you've got it. And what would Tottenham would do to an Elon Musk or a Microsoft? It would enhance their global brand further. So they would generate money anyway, and by doing that, they'd probably generate more than the 5 billion that they've paid for the stadium. But you've got to be a real big player to buy Spurs. You don't want someone who's buying a stake or 10%. I mean,
it's got to be a full sale.
Yeah, you want
be a full
exactly.
Full sale.
Exactly. You want a full sale of this football club and you don't want someone who can just barely scrape the money together. What are they going to invest in the team? You want someone who's got more money than they know what to do with.
The thing is that the fact that we haven't sold the naming rights for the stadium should be a massive, massive pull, right? Because whoever comes in, let's say Jeff Bezos comes in and Amazon and straight away, he has the Amazon arena, right? For the next 10, 15 years with all the NFL stuff, with the concerts, and everything else that can be done on top of that. We are actually super, super, super attractive.
Maybe that's
you
one of
know,
the reasons
for
they haven't
certain
got
moment.
a
Yeah.
name
Well,
yet.
think-
Maybe they've
I
been
think
thinking
so.
about
I
selling
think
them.
so.
A deal might
think
be
so.
nearly being willing to struck, but we can't put a name on that stadium until after
No.
the 2028 Euro
No.
Championships, because we're one of the stadiums that are going to stage the games, and you can't have a name on your stadium. So we may have a deal. We're going to have a deal before that's probably already written down, but I mean, like, we can't sign it off until after the Euros in 28.
I mean, there is still rumors about, you know, Qatar and Saudi actually as well. There is concrete rumors out there. You know, that there are discussions kind of happening, but of course, just to go from discussions to actually making a formal offer is a long way. But it wouldn't surprise me. You know, someone was saying, or there was there was a couple of agents that were also involved in like kind of more high level corporate discussions with Scott Munn before he left. And even last summer when we got Thomas Frank, there was a few kind of little pieces of information going around that were saying that the reason why we went for Thomas Frank, of course we wanted more pragmatism, but we also wanted more pragmatism in the transfer market, like over a 2 to 3 year period, to actually make the team and the club more attractive and more ready for a sale, i.e. to go to more of a money ball kind of model. Still spend money on transfers, maybe, you know, not go overboard, you know, keep, you know, increase the wage bill slightly, but kind of like make the club more, sounds stupid, doesn't it? Because we're not professional, but make the club more professional, but ramp it down, get a bit of stability, get a bit more pragmatism, get a bit more reality in, right? Try and get some players as well that we can sell for profit. Again, like within a 12 to 18 month period, a bit like what we've done with Brennan in some respects, to make the club more attractive within a 2 to 3 year period max of selling. And there was quite a bit of info about that also here in the press randomly in Germany, in the Bild, in Kicker, because some of the they've got some business magazines here which are quite well known, because Levy is good friends as well with the Bayern hierarchy, which is also how this positive relationship with Bayern originally came about. You know, how we've managed to do all of these deals with one another. And I just do wonder whether that was part of the reason why in the end they actually went for Thomas Frank, you know, because there was an original view to kind of just try and obviously make the club a bit more stable, make it more with the view to selling within a 2 to 3 year period. And now the fact that we've got obviously Joe Lewis's, so we've got Vivin and the rest of them, and they're saying that they want to kind of rebuild the club in their own way, and, you know, it's a new start and everything else. We don't know anything about that until they put the cash on the table for some of these new signings, because so far, who've they sanctioned? Like in terms of
Sousa.
anyone, let's say over 20, 30 million, no one, just Sousa. The other signings were made in the summer. Until they actually come and show us this, you know, we have no idea whatsoever. And if I'm being honest, I think that we are indirectly still on the market for a sale. And it'll be very interesting to see what we do this transfer window. And it will also be very interesting to see what we actually do with Thomas Frank in the end. Because I agree with you, Adrian. I think that we will keep Thomas Frank till the end of the season, because I think they will lose faith. And also there'll be less kind of structure again at the club in terms of at least some continuity. And the amount of compensation we have to pay out anyways, right, for all of Frank's team that we brought in. Even Cochrane, as an example, like, he's on quite a high salary. But again, so I wouldn't surprise me. I think there's going to be more rumours over the next, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months about interested parties. Be interesting to see what happens.
But with regard to the transfer window, I mean, if elite players won't come to us, that's fair enough. But there are lots of good players out there from middle table clubs in different clubs in Europe who are not going to get European football, are not going to get relegated, who've got players. The Italian league, they're all skint still in Italy. You know, so if Prjctspurs is going, bear in mind he's got a 2 year contract. So we're going to want some form of compensation for that, right? And I'm not sure if Fiorentina have got any money either. I mean, it just took Manor Solomon on loan. I mean, if that tells you they haven't got a lot of money, in my opinion. So I just think there are lots of good players out there. I mean, another young kid who's very good, but then he's young is Smith. Any news on him, Callum? Reece Smith?
So there's Key Schmidt, there's Decat as well. All very good young
Belgium,
players.
he's a very good player as well. Yeah, Nathan Decat.
In interest only, I think, at the moment, because I know what's it called? I think Palace are looking at Schmidt as well, from what I heard, because of
ignore all these talks about bringing. You see all these media outlets, the clickbait that linking us with centre backs. I mean, Germany just finished. They just finished their mid-season break, and they're voting for the best player during the up to the mid-season. Went Vaskovic and Kane, and Vaskovic got it. Yeah. If he ain't integrated in our first team squad in the summer, I mean, I think we'll pack up and go home.
And goal of the season as well.
Yeah. The overhead, yeah.
Should be calling him back now, really.
No, they've signed off, aren't they? I think they've learnt the hard way. I mean, Callum said to me that now any loans will have the option to call them back in January, which should have been in place years ago, right?
Yeah.
The same thing, because it's a joke. I mean, so Vaskovic and Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore's doing well. I mean, those two you would expect to be integrated into the squad next year. If you can bring in Tell and Odegaard, you can bring those two in, right? Simple. Like, but Enoch have got to do work in this window. It's no get outs for them. No get outs. Any manager we'd brought in with the injuries we suffered, it's unfortunate Frank has come into us when we lost all the forwards. I don't think any of us would believe that we'd be where we are now. I mean, I said at the beginning of the season, I fancy anything 5th to 7th. But, if we had any of the injuries, I think 6th or 7th would have been well achievable.
Adrian, I've got a question for you, because, you've been kind of Frank in, right, through the season, and actually being quite pragmatic about, probably he's going to be there till the end of the season. I've been the same up until kind of last week or so.
Same,
right. So, but, and I do see that.
That's what it is. Us old school got more patience with players, man.
I do see the point of keeping him till the end of the season, and then look, if we were to get someone like Poch back or whatever, right? Because he believes us, he knows the fans. I'll be on board for something like that. Absolutely, 100%. But the thing is, with Thomas Frank now, he's got the lowest points per game in all competitions out of the last 10 Spurs managers. So, like, he's obviously, he's not doing very well, right? Regardless of the situation of the squad. We've got West Ham next week. The fan base is massively split. I haven't been on X yet tonight. I don't know whether I should go on there. Probably leave it till tomorrow. But I imagine that probably 80% of the people on there are calling for him to be sacked. How far does it go? Like, realistically, like, where is the bottom level where his tenure is untenable, right?
Where it's untenable.
Where at what point do we get to, or does he get to, where in some respects Vinay or the owners or whoever it is making the decision has no choice almost to make that decision, because like, from week to week we're not winning, we're not playing good football, and the fans are getting more and more weight. Like, we've got West Ham next week, obviously, which is obviously a huge game. They're in the relegation zone.
Yeah, we've got West Ham in a week, so we've got a week's rest. Then a few days later, we go away to Dortmund, and then we got Burnley away, and then we got Eintracht Frankfurt. I think the end of this month.
Yeah,
I think the end of this month. And then, like, we'll see if their fortune turns against. We win against West Ham, then he's virtually staying, isn't he? In Dortmund, if you qualified for the last whatever, I think a point against Dortmund will probably get us, but if a win will definitely get us through to the playoffs. I think then. But you were saying the other day how well Dortmund played against Frankfurt. Was it 2-2 in the end? I don't know what the score was in the end.
3-3. There was 2 goals in there. 95th and 97th minute.
I genuinely don't see how Frank can keep his job if we lose to West Ham. I can't see it.
He's gone. We lose
So-
to West Ham, he's gone.
So what we'll do, I'll just go around the houses and ask a simple question to you guys before we end, because we've been going for over 2 hours and 10 minutes now. We have 1,140 of you watching live. I mean, this has been amazing from everyone watching us from Frankfurt Spurs, Brummy Spurs, Spurs Diehards, on my X page, Gary's X page, Project Spurs, on Joseph's X page. Thank you so much. This means the world to us, because we all do it for the love of Spurs, but also through thick and thin. We try to bring you guys some good factual stuff with also some therapy. So I will end the show on asking around the houses. After today, is everyone Frank in or Frank out? I just want to hear Frank in and Frank out, because we can cover the explanations on another podcast as we come. So, Phil, Frank in or Frank out, sir?
For the first time this season, or since Frank got appointed, I'm Frank out. Unfortunately.
Ooh, okay, so we've got someone who has pivoted. Si?
We lose to West Ham, Frank out.
Adrian, I know you're the same as me, mate, but I wonder whether you're changing or not.
Frank, I don't think that we have a choice but to stick with his manager. Otherwise, we've got to go rinse and repeat. There's no ready-made replacement that would satisfy the fan base, and I just don't see ENIC putting pressure. I think from a selfish perspective for them, I don't see them putting themselves under unnecessary pressure. They're under pressure already. I just don't see it. So I think he's safe. He's safe. If it's disastrous at the end of this month, he's not safe. But I think he's safe to the end of January. And if he gets results, he'll see it out. He'll see it out to the season.
Can I just put one very, very quick caveat on my answer? Again, as I said, I will include like this month on that, right? I think if he loses to West Ham, he's gone anyways, because he won't get away with that. The fans won't take it. I'm Frank out, but if he gets results in the next couple of games, and if that second half performance that happened today, if that wasn't just a one-off freak, or if it was the players just ignoring his instructions again, exactly, then maybe there's a chance, right? But I think generally I'm Frank out, because I don't believe in his tactical approach or some of his decisions anymore.
No, that's fair. And Joseph, last but not least, mate, obviously I know you have not wanted Frank for a long time. Do you still stand by it, or have you changed to Frank in this time?
No, completely Frank out for now. This is so anti-Tottenham. This isn't Tottenham Football Club. The football that I'm watching isn't Tottenham Football Club. So I can't defend him at the moment. I'm not saying that everything will be solved once he's gone. We're still not going to be in like we're not going to turn around and be in a great position, but you got to start somewhere.
No, exactly. Right, boys. Well, it is 10:30. The game finished over 3 hours ago now. We have been going for nearly 2.5 hours. So I think it is time to end another show for Project Spurs on that one. So obviously a big thank you to all my panel. So I'll come to Phil first. Thanks, Phil, as always, mate. Where can everyone find you?
Cheers, Carl, and thanks to Gary as well, as always, for having me on. Great pod tonight. I'm mainly on X at Frankfurt Spurs. Hit me up there. And I'm generally on this pod, on a couple of others as well, as you know. So yeah, see you soon. Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you very much, mate. So obviously, thank you to the 208 people watching at Frankfurt Spurs on X at the moment. I can see all the viewing figures, so that's a massive pleasure. Si, obviously, you are getting older with each pod, mate. We know what Spurs is doing to you, mate. So thank you for coming on. Obviously, we know the Midlands is going to be very difficult for the next couple of days for you, especially with work, I believe, 5 o'clock tomorrow. So if there are any fans that you work with who are Villa fans, you are going to have a long day. But where can everyone find you, mate? It's been a pleasure tonight, as always.
Yeah, I'm dreading it tomorrow, mate. But yeah, at Prjctspurs, mainly on X, like Phil as well. Please just come along, follow me. I love to talk Spurs. I'll talk Spurs to anyone. I live and breathe them. So yeah, please come along and follow me, and we can have a good chat about Spurs.
Pleasure as always, mate. So obviously, big thank you to Travis Caster for being on here earlier. You can find him at official Travis Cast or official Caster on X. We know he is Enoch out and Frank out, so that's our answer on that one. A big thank you to a channel that I'm glad to be part of as well. A good friend of mine and Gary's, Adrian. Thank you for coming on from Spurs Diehards, mate. I know it was a late one for you, so and from going to the game as well. So where can everyone find you, mate?
Yeah, we have a Facebook group as well. You can find Spurs Stars here. You can find us on XCOM. Obviously, we've got a WhatsApp group. I just added these guys in here, so we'll be giving them invites to come on future shows, like yourself and Gary, of course, because we seem to have a close connection. Actually, we've got a little foursome, really. We've got you, us, Harry as well, and Jose I met up with today at the ground with EMF and Kev Clark. But these guys are all in the WhatsApp group as well. You'll find the group's very friendly in there. It doesn't really get that prickly, does it, Callum? In there, really, it's pretty sensible. That mature and sensible group. We got a show tomorrow at 8:00. I think Callum's on, Gary's on, Harry might be on. I'm not sure about Ian's guests, but I'll give you the link anyway in a minute, Callum. Anyway, for Gary and yourself, although no, or I'll leave it. We only might get the amp if I do it. I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, we'll go out Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Fridays is 10:00, bit late for some people, but I've got 2 American guests on, just trying to attract some sort of audience there. And midweek, like Ian's doing 8:00 now, Sunday instead of 9:30. And midweek, if I'm doing a Tuesday or Wednesday show, if James don't come on and do a show, then that'll be about 8:00 as well, or 9:00. 9:00 that'll probably be right. So yeah.
No, really appreciate that, Adrian. Yeah, Ian was texting me saying, how the hell did Adrian get so quickly from the stadium to being on a podcast? Turns out you might have a twin somewhere or a teleportation device. We will be inquiring and providing further updates on that.
I only live 1.5 miles from the stadium. I can walk it in 40 minutes, Which is London transport, the way it is, you have to sometimes.
Probably quicker walking, isn't it, Adrian?
Oh, don't. Exactly. Oh, right.
We did come back on the train together today with me and Kev Clark. So,
well, we can give Ian answers tomorrow night. Obviously, a good friend of mine as well, and one of my local podcasters who isn't far from me, Joseph Ridge as well. Obviously, mate, thank you for coming on late notice. It is always a pleasure. So where can everyone find you, mate?
Yeah, thank you for having me. No, it's been really good to have this therapy session with everyone. Obviously, always great guests, always great to talk Spurs. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Please follow me, Joseph THFC on X. Mainly talking Spurs, but also quite a big Juve fan. So talk some Italian football on there, and also some American sports as well. Quite into that. So yeah, just again, feel free to message me if you want to chat about anything Tottenham or anything else related. But yeah, looking forward to more shows. Looking forward to getting involved with any content anyone's doing. And yeah, again, hopefully some brighter times ahead for Tottenham. But I'll hold my breath.
Well, I think we all hold our breath for that one, mate. But obviously, a big thank you to Gary Wald, my glamorous, wonderful co-host from Belmarsh Prison. He will be on day release tomorrow for Die Hard, so we have to say thank you to 455 people watching on his X channel. We've got 369 watching from our X channel at Prjctspurs. I've got 116 on my viewing channel as well. If you want to listen to me, I'm quite a boring old sod, so you can find me at Callum Stubbs 97. I'm in group chats with all of these boys, so if anyone does want to join us, give us a shout. If you want to be on a podcast, just DM us or drop a comment whenever we post on these shows, and we would be happy to have you guys on here. But if there's nothing else,
Fantastic
I will
host as always, Callum, mate.
really appreciate that, mate, and I appreciate everyone who works with us on all of these, because we can't do it without the panels and we can't do it without anyone watching. So I will give us some music on the way out just to give us a little bit of calm down before bed, and then have a good evening, good night, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone.
Oh, the streets are cold and grey, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, and